The sun shines on a desolate desert canyon, creating a sense of peace before a battle. The quiet day is soon broken by the sound of clashing steel. A group of warriors is engaged in a desperate fight. The sound of their weapons clashing echoes through the air, and they appear exhausted from the long struggle. A monstrous hand glowing with blue energy suddenly enters the fight. The battle shifts from a simple sword fight to a supernatural conflict. From a distance, a line of soldiers stands ready against the chaos. The desert wind picks up, increasing the tension of the scene. The battle is a blur of motion, as strikes are exchanged at high speed. The power behind each swing is evident in the desperate skirmish. A warrior with glowing red eyes is impaled by a sword through his chest. He lets out a sharp groan as the light fades from his eyes. The protagonist coughs up blood, looking completely exhausted and near defeat. He gasps for air, but his eyes still show a will to fight. He glares forward through blood and sweat like a cornered animal. Even in defeat, his appearance is terrifying. He refuses to stay down and leaps back into the fight, defeating another enemy with a brutal strike. The battlefield is littered with his fallen foes. He pants heavily as exhaustion takes over his body. He struggles to catch his breath, trying to find the strength for one last move. The enemy soldiers panic and regroup, calling him a monstrous bastard. They are terrified of his strength. He stands alone amid the carnage, his clothes torn and his sword covered in blood. A caption indicates he is exhausted, but he still appears ready to fight. The enemy commander spots an opportunity and orders his men to kill the protagonist while he is weak. He waits for the hero to tire before making his move. A close-up shows his bloodshot eye as he faces death. He feels the weight of his injuries, and his vision begins to blur. He thinks to himself that every exhale is a struggle. His mouth is stained with blood, and he fights just to keep breathing. He looks up at the sky, unable to tell if the liquid dripping down is blood or sweat. He is so exhausted he can no longer distinguish between them. An enemy warrior leaps down from above with a loud war cry, intending to deliver the final blow. It is a critical moment, and the situation looks grim. Despite the pain, he grips his sword with all his remaining strength. He is determined not to go down without a fight. Blue system windows suddenly appear around him, announcing that a hidden trait has been activated. This changes the course of the battle at a critical moment. The enemies continue to close in, shouting for his death. They are unaware that the rules of the fight have just changed. The protagonist lets out a final, defiant roar. He puts all of his remaining spirit into this last stand. The scene glitches and fades as text appears, stating that this is the reality. The epic battle is revealed to be a simulation. The desert sun is replaced by the blue glow of computer monitors. The scene transitions from a fantasy battlefield to a messy apartment. A desk is shown, cluttered with trash, empty ramen cups, and soda cans. This is the real world of the protagonist. The legendary warrior is a man named Hyunmyoung, slumped in his gaming chair. After 5 years of effort, he's just a tired gamer in a dark room. The screen displays the words, "Game over," as his character lies defeated. The intense battle was just the end of a long gaming session. Hyunmyoung sighs in frustration and leans his head back. He mutters to himself about how terrible the game is, feeling defeated. The camera shows his messy room. He admits that while others work hard, his own life is not wise. He quit his job several months ago and has done nothing but play video games since. He is living the life of a NEET, and it is affecting him. He admits he has been isolated and completely focused on this one game. His gaming has become a serious addiction. A close-up of his keyboard and the surrounding trash shows his living conditions. He's lived this way for 5 years, an unusually long time for any game. He reflects on his life, realizing he has been playing this game since before he quit his job. 5 years on a single game is a sign of extreme dedication or a problem. He stares blankly and calls his life legendary in the worst way. He is aware of his depressing situation. The game is called Panganinia, a typical fantasy MMO. However, the game is far from ordinary. A system message appears with a dramatic promise. It says that if a player clears the game, one of their dreams will be granted. In reality, angry player comments call the game garbage. The difficulty was so extreme that nearly everyone quit. An image shows one of the impossible bosses, a giant, glowing creature. The caption questions if the game is even meant to be cleared. The game is not only difficult because of the monsters, but also because it encourages betrayal between players. A panel shows a character being stabbed by a teammate. The game's community is extremely toxic. If a player gets a bounty, the strongest NPCs in the world will hunt them until their character is deleted. The game shows no mercy. He begins to explain the worst part of the game, building suspense about its most punishing feature. The scene returns to a red sky and a field of swords as he explains the ultimate penalty. If a character dies, everything is instantly deleted. The text makes it clear that a player's character, items, and progress are all lost upon death. It is the most extreme form of high-stakes gaming. He has to start from the beginning every time he dies. He puts out a cigarette in an overflowing ashtray, a sign of the stress the game has caused him. Hyungyung wonders if someone is actively trying to prevent players from winning. The difficulty makes it feel like the developers are trolling. He thinks about his character, who had 8 of the 15 known unique items. 5 years of progress were just lost. He sits in the dark, processing the loss. He then notices something on the screen that catches his attention. A notification confirms that his character has been deleted due to the death penalty. The next line, however, states that he has obtained 1.6 million soul points. He watches as the soul points are added to his account. It is a consolation prize for all the time he lost. The game explains that soul points are acquired when a character dies. It is the only thing that carries over to a new life. Hyunmyoung is shocked by the amount, 1.6 million soul points. He realizes that unique items must grant a large number of points upon deletion. He recalls that his hundreds of previous characters combined only gave him about 80,000 points. He has just received a huge reward for his failure. The soul point system is shown in detail, with numbers appearing on the screen. He is awarded points based on the value of his dead character. The screen confirms that points are awarded based on a character's value. All his grinding was not for nothing. Soul points can be invested when creating a new character to purchase talents. The more points invested, the stronger a character can become. There are dozens of different talent icons, from sword mastery to magic. He has enough points to create a powerful character from the start. He remembers a previous character he created by investing 10,000 soul points into sword talent, which he thought was a lot at the time. The limit for each talent is 10,000 points, and he has 1.6 million. He realizes he can max out everything. He reaches for his mouse with a smirk on his face. He usually chooses a stable magic build, but this time he has a different plan. He moves the cursor over the random button instead of choosing a specific class. He feels lucky and wants to try something different. He thinks that he will never clear the game anyway. He decides to use this final playthrough to enjoy the game one last time before quitting for good. He clicks the button, and the screen glows. This marks the beginning of a journey that will be very different from his last 5 years. A flashback shows a painful memory of a girl holding a cup of coffee. She looks away and apologizes to Hyunmyoung, signaling a breakup. Hyunmyoung looks confused and hurt. He asks her what she is talking about, clearly not expecting the breakup. She tells him he is a good person but that she cannot date someone with no future. Her words are a heavy blow to his heart. She explains that she is at an age where she needs to think about marriage. A man who spends all his time gaming is not a suitable husband for her. She looks serious and determined, having already made up her mind. This was a well-thought-out decision. Hyunmyoung is left speechless and devastated. The silence between them is heavy and painful. She bites her lip, showing some regret but remains firm in her decision to move on with her life. She mentions that all her friends are dating men with stable jobs at big companies. The social pressure was too much for her. She looks at him with frustration in her eyes, saying his name. She does not need to finish the sentence, as the comparison to his life is clear. Hyunmyoung sits in stunned silence as her words sink in. This hurts more than any final boss could. She is completely done with the relationship. She sighs, says she has had enough, and walks away without looking back. Her parting words are that she hopes he has a nice life. To him, in his current state, it feels more like a death sentence. He is left alone at the table with 2 coffees and a broken heart. He watches her walk away, leaving him behind. Their 5-year relationship ended just like that. Being dumped after so long made him want to escape from reality. After the breakup, he did not try to fix things. Instead, he channeled his anger into quitting his dead-end job. That is how he became the gaming addict he is today. He traded real life for the digital world. He fully committed to the game, making it his entire world to avoid facing his problems. Back in the present, he hovers his mouse over the random button. It is his final gamble on a game that has already taken so much from him. He gives himself a reality check, telling himself to stop being pathetic. It is time for him to stop moping and start playing. Without hesitation, he clicks the button, officially starting his final fun playthrough. The system begins processing his soul points to randomize his stats. It is like a digital slot machine, and he has bet everything. Suddenly, something strange happens. His eyes widen as the screen does something unexpected. A message about a hidden piece being activated appears. He has never seen this message before, despite playing for thousands of hours. Something important is happening. A message congratulates him for satisfying a singularity and invites him to Pangagenia. This is very unusual, even for this game. Before he can process the message, his room is flooded with a blinding blue light. The game seems to be leaking into his reality. The blue light turns a menacing red, and Hyunmyoung looks terrified. This is not part of the standard game tutorial. A terrifying voice booms, cursing a wicked god and wishing for worlds to burn. The introduction is very intense. A horrifying grin appears. Whatever is happening, it is far more dangerous than just clicking a button. He doubles over in pain, clutching his head as the voice screams in his mind. He manages to choke out a question about what is happening. He realizes there is a voice in his head. It is not just loud, it is physically rattling his brain. The intensity is too much, and his world goes dark. He collapses into the abyss the game has opened. He wakes up on the ground in a place that is not his messy apartment. He's officially entered the game. He is still slumped over, likely wishing he had gone to bed instead of clicking the random button. The gamer is now inside the game. Another dramatic system message appears with high fantasy language. It addresses him as a being brighter than light and darker than darkness. The message wishes him happiness in Panjanenia. Given the game's brutal difficulty, this sounds more like a threat. A whip cracks across his back as a guard yells at him to get up. The happiness has arrived in a painful way. He is stunned and looks up at the guard, who threatens to feed him to a high dragon. This roleplay has become too real. He repeats the name High Dragon, which sounds familiar. His brain is still trying to process being whipped. He hears heavy footsteps and looks over to see massive, clawed feet. He realizes it is probably the High Dragon. There is a whole line of slaves being marched along by these massive beasts. This is a very immersive experience. He is now part of a chain gang, walking through the same desert he saw in the game's introduction. The scale of the place is massive. He panics, wondering what is happening. One moment he was at his computer, and the next he is a slave in a desert. The multi-headed beasts are definitely High Dragons. He has seen them on his screen many times, but seeing them in person is different. His hands are bound in heavy iron shackles. He finally realizes this is not a dream or a VR game. He is actually inside the game. The guard cracks his whip again, shouting at him to get back in line. The NPCs are not following their usual scripts. The guard threatens him with death if he does not comply. The threat hangs in the air as Hyunmyoung struggles to his feet. He groans in pain as the heat and exhaustion begin to affect him. This is much harder than just pressing buttons. He can only keep walking, following the rhythmic thud of the march. He finally stands and takes a proper look at his surroundings. He starts to recognize things from his 5 years of playing the game. He confirms that the High Dragon is the same monster he knows from Pankagenia. It is an exact match to the in-game model. He thinks the place looks familiar. He recognizes the terrain, the cliffs, and the ruins from his countless times playing through this area. He decides to test a theory. If this is the game, he whispers the words, "status window." A blue window appears in front of him. He cannot believe it actually worked. He stares at the floating text in disbelief. If the status window is real, his life has become a video game. He begins reading his stats and is shocked. Everything is set to 12, which is an incredibly high number for a starting character. The truth finally sinks in that he has really entered Panjanenia. He is no longer playing, he is living the nightmare. He touches the status window, feeling a digital hum. He confirms it is a real, functioning game system. He then notices the numbers again. In this game, normal stats only go up to 10. He has already broken the game's limits. He scrolls through 13 hidden traits, including Dexterity, Weapon Master, and Beast Lord. He is essentially a walking cheat code. Suddenly, the march is interrupted. The other slaves stop and look up, sensing something is coming. He looks around, his gamer instincts telling him that a random encounter is about to happen. Even the guard looks terrified. Whatever is coming is big enough to scare the guards. He is frozen, staring up at the cliffs above them. The air is suddenly thick with tension. A massive cloud of dust appears over the cliffs. An ambush has begun. The guard starts screaming that it is the army of the Desert Queen. They realize their non-aggression pact was a lie, and it is an all-out ambush. A fierce-looking woman leads the army. She shouts at her troops to stay sharp or they will die. She looks like she means business. Hyunmyoung's eyes widen as he recognizes who she is. This is a major story event that he is witnessing in person. He tries to remember where he has heard the name, the Snake Princess, before, racking his brain for the lore of this character. A new window appears, announcing that the main quest has been generated. The game is already putting him to work. He is surprised to be given a main quest so soon after arriving. There is no rest for him. The first quest is to survive. The stakes are high, as failure means his physical body in reality will also die. There are no respawns this time. He stares at the word survive as if it is a death warrant. The pressure has suddenly become immense. Suddenly, arrows rain down from the sky. The ambush is in full swing, and everyone must fend for themselves. People are being killed all around him. It is pure chaos as everyone scrambles for cover in the open canyon. He stands frozen for a moment as the world around him turns into a bloodbath. Someone cries out for help, but everyone is too busy trying to save themselves. He looks down and sees blood splattered on his skin. Reality is hitting him hard, and he needs to move immediately. His gamer focus finally kicks in, overriding his panic. A notification appears that the heart of the iron-blooded monarch has been activated. A wave of calm washes over him as the system helps him regain his composure. This trait is a lifesaver. It stops exhaustion, prevents him from being blindsided, and allows him to process information at high speed. He has gone from a victim to a player. He realizes he will die if he stays there. He spots a sword next to a fallen guard and knows he must move if he wants to survive. He charges toward the sword, kicking up dust as he runs. It is his only chance. He slides low to the ground, reaching for the weapon. It is a move he has performed countless times in the game, and his body executes it perfectly. His hand wraps around the hilt, and it feels natural. The weight of the steel gives him a newfound confidence. The moment he touches the sword, a pulse of blue energy surges through him. The weapon seems to recognize its new master. A guard tries to attack him, but Hyunmyoung is already in motion. He swings the sword with incredible speed, moving on pure instinct. The blades meet in a shower of sparks. Despite being a slave just moments ago, he holds his own against a trained soldier. He follows the block with a brutal kick to the guard's chest. The man groans as he is sent flying backward. He stands tall, his sword crackling with power. He looks completely different from the broken man in the cafe. A notification appears that Weapon Master has been activated. He now has the skills to use the sword perfectly. He is becoming the monster he used to be in the game. His eyes burn with a fierce blue light. Park Hyunmyoung is no longer just surviving, he is here to win. His appearance is absolutely terrifying. Hyunmyoung sprints through the desert, leaving a trail of dust behind him. He moves at top speed with clear sound effects marking his steps. He stares straight ahead with absolute focus. He no longer looks like a slave, but like a man who has calculated his next 10 moves. A large, bald man with a wicked-looking axe blocks his path, calling him a damned little slave. The man makes a big mistake by underestimating him. Hyunmyoung parries the giant axe as if it were a toothpick. Sparks fly as he holds his ground against a man twice his size. He effortlessly deflects the blow, causing the man to stumble back. The man lets out a surprised groan as he realizes his easy target is fighting back. He picks up a fallen spear with one hand like a professional. He thinks about how he can use a weapon for the first time with such skill. He moves like a whirlwind, taking down multiple enemies at once. He realizes he can use any weapon like an expert, making it look easy. Another soldier lunges at him with a desperate shout, but it is a futile effort. Hyunmyoung does not even look stressed. He ducks under a massive horizontal swing that would have decapitated him. His speed and timing are incredible, as if he knows where the blade will go before it moves. He smirks confidently as he prepares his next move. He starts to think about another advantage he has. Suddenly, the world glows blue. He can see the exact trajectories of every incoming attack as glowing light paths, giving him an unfair advantage. The screen is covered in these blue lines, showing him every swing and thrust. It is as if the game's UI is showing him the future of the fight. Sparks fly as he counters another guard, moving through the battlefield like a dancer. His enemies have no chance of hitting him. He stares down an enemy as a glowing blue line connects directly to the man's heart. He mutters that he can see the path. A close-up of his eye shows the blue reflection. He realizes he can see the path of his enemy's sword, as if he is reading the game's code in real time. He drives the polearm right through the soldier's chest without hesitation. It is one strike, one kill, showing the efficiency of a pro gamer. The guard lets out a final groan as blood spatters against the white background. Hyunmyoung is officially clearing the map. He picks up a heavy axe, testing its weight with a practiced grip. He collects weapons like they are loot drops. He hurls the axe with incredible force at an unprepared guard. The guard's surprised expression shows he knows his life is about to end. The guard tries to scream for him to wait, but it is too late as the axe hits its mark. A brutal spray of blood confirms the kill. There is no mercy in Pangasinan. He stands alone in a field of fallen enemies, looking like a total boss. The desert wind blows as he catches his breath, sword in hand. His face is dripping with sweat, but his eyes are as sharp as ever. He's pushing his level 1 body to its absolute limits. The surviving guards are terrified, calling him a monster. They cannot believe a wounded slave is single-handedly defeating them. A system message explains that his masterful hands trait is boosting his weapon proficiency. This is why he's becoming so skilled so quickly. His sword and spear proficiency have both reached level 6. He is speedrunning his skill tree. He realizes that level 6 means he can fight like a famous knight. He wonders if this is the power of the hidden trait. He grips his sword, knowing that even with his traits he is still in a difficult situation. He thinks that this would not have been possible without them, but the miracle has a timer. He looks out at an army of 500 troops and realizes he has to survive all of them. He thinks that the quest is impossible. The scene shifts to a dark, gothic throne room bathed in red light. A long carpet leads to a mysterious figure sitting in the shadows. A woman kneels on the red carpet, showing respect to the person on the throne. This is clearly where the main villains are. A powerful woman with long, flowing hair sits on the throne. She asks if the expedition to the demon world failed, her voice cold and chilling. Her red eyes glow in the dark as she addresses the kneeling woman as Snake Princess. This woman is clearly not someone to disappoint. The Snake Princess, whose name is Isabella, confirms the bad news with a simple, "It is true." She looks very stressed. The Queen explains that they need to hide their lack of involvement in the expedition to avoid being blamed. The politics in this world are as ruthless as the combat. The queen orders Isabella to go to the desert and eliminate all the stragglers. She's being sent on a massive cleanup mission. They need to erase all evidence connecting them to the failure. There can be no survivors and no witnesses, which is standard villain procedure. Isabella is visibly shaken as the queen promises to lift her curse if she succeeds. This mission is her only chance at freedom. A close-up shows Isabella's hand clenching into a tight fist on the floor. She is filled with anger and desperation. She says she understands, her face a mask of cold determination. She has accepted the mission, no matter how dirty it is. The queen gives a final warning that she cannot fail. Her entire life is on the line. The scene transitions back to the bright, harsh desert sky. The peaceful clouds are about to be stained with blood. Isabella stands on a high cliff, looking over the desert. Her long hair blows in the wind, and she looks ready to hunt. She asks her subordinate if everything is done while looking down at him. She is checking if the massacre is complete. The soldier stammers that there is still one slave holding on. He is clearly scared of how she will react to the news. She repeats one slave, her eyes widening in surprise. She did not expect a random slave to be the last one standing. The aftermath of the battle is shown, with the bodies of guards and slaves scattered across the sand. It is a literal graveyard. The camera pans over more carnage, showing how thorough the cleanup has been. It is a grim scene that is only getting worse. Kyunmyung is leaning on his sword in the middle of the corpses. He looks like a lone survivor who has just walked out of a nightmare. He gasps for air, his mouth wide open as he struggles to breathe. The exhaustion from his killing spree is finally catching up to him. A notification appears that his level has increased to 2. It is finally some good news, as the level up sound is the best in any game. He looks up, and his eyes are pitch black and intense. This level up came just in time for the next big boss fight. Another system message confirms that his health and mana are being restored. It is a perfect reset right when he needed it. The final message says his fatigue has been removed. He stands tall, glowing with blue energy, fully refreshed and ready for round 2. Isabella walks through her troops, telling them to move out of her way. Her cold, focused vibe is scaring her own men. The soldiers are shocked to see her personally stepping in. They stutter her name as she stands atop the ruins, looking down at the hero. Kyunmyung looks up at her, thinking that she has finally arrived. He has been waiting for this encounter, but it is still very dangerous. A full-body shot shows her in all her snake princess glory. Her name is Isabella von Derzian, and she is as intimidating as the lore described. Her status window appears, revealing she is level 8 and under a curse. Most of her other information is hidden because Hyunmyung's level is too low. Hyunmyung thinks about her level 8 status, and sweat starts to bead on his forehead. He knows he cannot win a fair fight against someone that strong. The narrator explains that level 8 characters are legendary tier threats. They are the bosses of the world's most dangerous groups. A shot of a masked elite soldier with glowing red eyes is shown. These are the kinds of people Isabella usually associates with. Hyunmyung readies his sword and axe, bracing for the worst. He admits that facing her is a disaster. He looks at her status screen again and notices something. He spots a potential weakness in the text. A close-up of his shocked face shows he has realized something important. He has just found his win condition. Isabella leaps down from the ruins and lands gracefully on the sand, blocking his path out of the canyon. She looks him right in the eye, her expression cold and merciless. She tells him his show was interesting, but it is time for it to end. She unleashes a wave of dark, menacing aura. She says he has to die now, looking like a literal goddess of death. Hyunmyung does not blink, meeting her gaze with a serious look. He is not going down without using his knowledge of the game. He reflects on why he played this insanely difficult game for 5 years. It was not just for fun, but for the challenge of finding a way to win. He thinks about how he would win no matter the difficulty. He is a person who thrives on impossible odds and is about to prove it. Back in the game, he has a cool smirk on his face. He thinks of himself as a pervert among perverts, which is gamer speak for loving painful challenges. Isabella does not wait for a speech and lunges at him with incredible speed. She is a blur of motion as she closes the distance. She swings her blade in a powerful arc, aiming to end things in one blow. The speed lines show how lethal the attack is. Hyunmyung smiles as she approaches, looking completely unfazed. He asks if she wants to lift the queen's curse, using it as the ultimate bait. He blocks her strike, the impact creating a massive shockwave of dust and light. He's actually stopped a level 8 boss. Her blade is stopped inches from his throat. Steam or energy comes off the weapons as they clash. Isabella is completely stunned, her eyes widening in disbelief. No slave should be able to block her, let alone talk about her secret curse. They are locked in a power struggle, face to face. She grinds out his name, her anger and shock mixing into one intense look. A super close-up of her eye shows her processing the impossible situation. She realizes this guy is not just another straggler. Hyunmyung finishes with a legendary line, saying he reads the stars and leads people to them. He is playing the role of a mysterious seer perfectly to save his own skin. Hyung continues his bluff, claiming to be the legendary Starbearer. He promises Isabella he can lift her curse and get her out of the desert if she cooperates. Isabella's eyes widen in shock, completely caught off guard. Her brain is struggling to process if this slave is actually a god in disguise. She stands there trembling while Hyun thinks to himself that it worked. He is a professional liar who has just bluffed his way out of an execution. The lore explains that the Starbearer is an NPC class that players need to transcend the max level. It is the ultimate support role. Hyun admits in his head that the class is NPC only, so he is a total fake. But in this world, a good lie is better than a sharp sword. He explains that to remove the queen's curse, she needs a specific blessing from a Starbearer. Since Isabella is desperate, she has no choice but to listen. Isabella looks down, defeated by his logic. Her dark hair hides her face, but her cold-blooded aura has been replaced by someone looking for hope. Hyun watches her closely, making sure she has taken the bait. The tables have turned incredibly fast. Isabella's status window shows her at level 8. Even though she is a boss-tier threat, she is currently trapped in this desert zone by the curse. Hyun reflects on how he neglected this character in the game because he started in the wrong place. To him, Isabella was just an unfortunate character he left behind years ago. A bird flies freely over snowy peaks and green valleys. In Pangania, players are supposed to travel the world to reach the end, but Isabella never had the chance. Instead, she's been kept like a bird in a golden cage, tied to this location by the queen's power. It is a sad situation when you think about it. Isabella finally asks for his name, her voice low and cautious. She is officially treating him as an equal, or at least someone she cannot kill yet. He says his name is Randolph with a straight face, fully committing to his new persona. The system confirms that his character's name has been set. Welcome to the world, Randolph. The two share an intense stare-down as the sun sets behind them. The tension is still there, but the immediate threat of death has passed for now. Isabella looks away first, her pride taking a hit. She is not happy about it, but she knows she needs him. She turns her back on him, deciding she will postpone killing him for now. This means he is useful, so he gets to live another day. She gives him a final warning that if he is lying, she will make him regret it. She is still a scary level 8 boss. A close-up of her cold, murderous eye shows her threat. She says she will rip him into pieces. He gets the message. She orders her men to escort him as an honored guest. 1 minute he was a slave in chains, and now he is being treated like royalty. Life changes fast. Hyun walks ahead, looking broad and confident. He has played this game for 5 years and knows exactly how to act the part. A giant window announces that Main Quest 1 Survival is officially complete. He pulled it off against all odds. The system is impressed, calling his result miraculous and record-breaking. He is setting new standards for the Hall of Fame. The rewards keep upgrading. The constellations of fortune and battle are fighting over who gets to give him better loot. This is the ultimate RNG luck. He gets the jackpot, the broken piece of the golden scale, the soul of the high dragon, and the sword of Mikola. This is endgame tier loot. Hyun collapses against a wall, finally letting out a breath. He mutters that he somehow survived. The adrenaline is finally wearing off. His eyes look tired but triumphant. He has managed to secure his place in this world, at least for the night. The total points for the quest are 220, and he has been added to the Hall of Fame. He is officially the #1 player in the world right now. Night falls over the desert palace, which looks surprisingly luxurious. It is a far cry from the slave march he was in earlier. He is relaxing in a massive, ornate bath, enjoying some much-needed rest. From the desert heat to a luxury spa, this is the gamer life. He scrolls through the item descriptions of his new loot while he soaks. The soul of the high dragon is a raid-tier item that lets him summon a giant monster, a huge power-up. He realizes the Sword of Mikola is a rare and essential early-game item. Getting both at once is the game's way of saying he is the chosen one. Then there is the mysterious, broken piece of the golden scale. It allows for synchronization between reality and Pangania, which sounds more complicated than a simple sword. The door slides open, and a group of maids enters. Hyun looks up, not expecting company in the tub. 3 maids bow and ask if he would like them to wash him. It is the classic noble treatment, and Hyun tries to act used to it. He thinks that she is testing him already. He knows Isabella is likely behind this, trying to see if he is a real holy man or a fraud. A maid starts scrubbing his feet with soap and water. He keeps a stone-cold face, but he is screaming internally. He realizes these are Isabella's personal chambermaids. If he shows any reaction, she will get suspicious of his Starbearer status. He repeats to himself to keep calm while they wash his back. He is putting his gamer focus to the ultimate test. His face is a complete mask of indifference. He is doing a great job of acting like a detached holy man above earthly desires. Suddenly, someone gasps loudly. Something has interrupted the peaceful bath time. A system window pops up right in front of his face while he is still in the water. The game never stops. He leans in to see the notification. Even while being washed, he is still looking for the next quest. The window shows a leaderboard where he is in first place with 220 points. He also sees a message about the boundary between Pangania and reality shattering, which sounds bad. His eyes widen as he sees the names in second and third place. Gracia and I love mint chocolate. He knows those names. Another message appears that he has unlocked the logout feature. This is huge, as it means he might finally be able to escape this nightmare. He looks up at the maids, still processing the Starbearer bluff while his brain is exploding with new system info. He thinks it is impossible. He cannot believe those other players are here too. They were his old gaming buddies from 5 years ago. He remembers Gracia and mint chocolate fondly. He thought they had just quit the game years ago, but it turns out they might have been summoned here too. He sees a vision of their characters, wondering if they were here all along while he was struggling. The mystery of Pangania has just gotten deeper. A super close-up of his eye shows him focusing on the most important word, logout. The system warns him to be careful because his character will be vulnerable while he is logged out. It is not a clean escape, but it is an escape. He thinks that he can leave this damned game. He is practically vibrating with excitement. He can finally go home to his messy room and lukewarm ramen. He tells the maids to leave immediately, claiming he needs to communicate with the stars. The maids look confused but do not dare argue with the Starbearer. He bluffs that if he does not communicate in time, he will lose all his power. He tells them to ask the princess if she would truly want that, using her as a shield. The maid looks stunned, her mouth slightly open. She is completely bought into the mysterious seer act. The door slides shut with a creak. They say from the other side that they hope he has a comfortable time communicating. Mission accomplished. The bathroom is finally empty and quiet. He finally has a moment to himself to try the unthinkable. He lets out a massive sigh of relief. He thinks that, thank goodness, that shabby excuse actually worked. He is lucky Isabella was not in the room to hear that. He steps out of the massive bath, looking at the water ripples. He is terrified that if he stays, he will be stuck here forever. He brings up the logout menu, his finger hovering over the glowing blue button. This is the moment of truth. He tells himself that he is gone for good and out of this stupid game. He hits the button with everything he has. The words, logging out, appear as the world around him begins to pixelate and fade. He looks calm and ready to wake up in his own bed. The system gives a final tip that if his character dies, he dies in real life. It is a grim reminder that he is not completely safe yet. The screen fades to black, and then he is back. He is sitting in front of his computer monitor, staring at the familiar Pangania login screen. He looks around his room, and everything is as messy as he left it. He has never been so happy to see a pile of dirty laundry. He looks out the window, expecting a quiet city night. But something is very, very wrong. People are screaming in the streets as fires break out everywhere. They cry for help as the real world turns into a war zone. A giant, mantis-like monster crawls through the flames, looking like it came straight out of a horror movie. Reality has been invaded. His phone buzzes with an emergency disaster message. Everyone in Seoul and Busan is being told to evacuate immediately. Junmyeon looks out the window, his face pale with shock. He wonders what is happening. He just escaped a game, only to find the game followed him home. A massive monster with glowing eyes crawls right past his window, looking like a nightmare version of a Panjanina mob. It is huge and terrifyingly real. The monster lets out a screech, its multiple mouths and eyes focusing on the city below. This is not the homecoming he was expecting. Kyunmung falls back onto his bed, his legs giving out. He's completely overwhelmed by the chaos outside. He wonders why there are monsters from Pangania in the real world. He is trying to find a logical explanation, but there is not one. The boundaries have definitely shattered. As he falls, a small, glowing object slips out of his pocket and hits the floor. It looks like he brought more than just memories back with him. It is the broken piece of the golden scale. The loot he got in the game is now physically in his room. The game is not just following him, it is merging with his world. A flashback or dream sequence shows a crowd of people in a game-like setting, with status windows floating above them. The sepia tone suggests a distant memory from Hyunmyung's 5-year grind. A close-up of a warrior from behind glows with white-hot energy as they prepare to strike. The power radiating off of him suggests he is about to defeat a boss in one hit. The warrior strikes a dynamic pose, sword drawn and eyes glowing with a blue light. It is a classic shot of a main character about to do something cool. Junmyeon suddenly wakes up in his gaming chair, looking completely disoriented. He mutters, wondering where he is, clearly shaken by the transition from the epic world of Pangania. He stares at a simple electric fan in his messy room, trying to ground himself. He realizes this is his room, though he looks like he would rather be back in the desert. He lets out a nervous laugh, holding his face in disbelief. He says to himself that it is not possible, trying to convince himself that being sucked into a game is just for web novels. He looks down at his cluttered desk, still thinking about his disgustingly vivid dream. He then notices a trash bag moving and wonders if it is just his imagination. He holds a golden object, his eyes wide behind his glasses. He stammers, wondering if this has always been in his room, realizing his dream might have left a real souvenir. He quickly reaches for his computer mouse, his face full of panic. He thinks about the game and desperately wants to see if everything is still there. The screen shows a 404 error page stating that the page does not exist. For a man who spent 5 years on this game, this is his worst nightmare. A close-up of his eye shows him realizing the game homepage disappeared the moment he was not looking. The mystery is only getting weirder, and he is at the center of it. Suddenly, a terrifying scream echoes from outside his window. Someone yells that there is a monster and cries for help. Young looks like he has seen a ghost. A giant mantis-like monster attacks people in the street, its massive limbs crushing everything in its path. People scream in terror as the world turns into a nightmare. The aftermath of an attack is shown, with blood and debris everywhere as a body lies on the ground. Someone shouts to run as the panic in the city reaches a fever pitch. Police forces fire at the monster but are completely outclassed. Their radios blare with messages about an emergency situation. His phone vibrates with an emergency disaster alert. The screen is filled with warnings about unidentified attacks occurring nationwide, and the situation is not looking good. Hyunmyoung stares out his window in pure shock, his face pale. He whispers, wondering what is happening and why. He is unable to process the total collapse of reality. He looks up and sees another monster crawling right past his window. He thinks about why monsters from Pangagenia have appeared in the real world, finally making the horrific connection. He slumps to the floor, completely terrified. He looks at the golden object that fell out of his pocket and into his new reality, starting to understand. He wonders if the boundary between reality and Pangagenia has completely broken. The gravity of the situation is finally setting in, and he realizes his life will never be the same. A blue system window appears in front of him, listing all the insane hidden traits he earned. His character's powers have officially carried over to the real world. His heart pounds loudly with a sound effect on the screen. He panics, wondering what to do, feeling the weight of the world on his shoulders. He looks down at the golden scale fragment again as it glows with a faint light. It is a literal piece of the game world sitting on his messy apartment floor. He realizes that if monsters are roaming freely, he is one of the only people with a chance to fight back. He has gone from a shut-in gamer to the world's only hope in one afternoon. A close-up of his eye shows a new spark of determination. He is done being scared. Now he is thinking like the pro gamer he spent 5 years becoming. He realizes that if his skills transferred, perhaps things obtained in the game can also be used here. His gamer brain is already thinking 10 steps ahead. He holds out his hands, and several game items materialize in a burst of light. Michaela's sword and the High Dragon's soul are now in his room. He holds up a glowing red gem, looking completely confused. He thinks about how to use it, as in the game he only had to double-click. Real life does not come with a mouse and keyboard. A floating screen explains that the golden scale fragment allows for synchronization between reality and Pangagenia. It is the bridge between his two lives. He looks up, stunned by the message. He only has a limited time of 24 hours to make this work and save himself. He knows his real-world self has no chance against the monsters outside, but he looks at the synchronization option that could change everything. He activates the synchronization, and a pillar of light erupts from his body. He yells as his game character's powers start flowing into his real-life self. The screen confirms that synchronization with Randolph is complete. He has officially leveled up his real life, and things are about to get intense. Another dramatic title card for the series appears. The hype is real now that the hero is finally ready to fight in the real world. The scene cuts to the chaotic city streets, where people are running for their lives. The dust and debris from the monster's rampage make it look like a war zone. A woman desperately runs through the wreckage, clutching a small child. Her heavy breathing can be heard as she tries to outrun the end of the world. The little girl asks where her daddy is and why he is not coming. Her mother tries to stay strong, promising he will come soon, even though she knows things are grim. Suddenly, massive chunks of a building fall right on top of them. The mother looks back in pure horror, realizing they are about to be crushed. A huge explosion of dust and rubble covers the street. It looks like a direct hit as the building collapses with a loud sound. The little girl is left alone in the wreckage, crying out for her mom. The ground is covered in smoke and debris in a heartbreaking scene amidst the chaos. Her mother is pinned under a massive slab of concrete, barely hanging on. She pleads with her daughter to go quickly, her face full of sacrifice. Another person runs up, asking if they are all right. It is a young woman in a business suit trying to help despite being terrified. The businesswoman rushes over to the mother, looking frantic. Her fast steps show how quickly she is moving to help in this desperate situation. The mother coughs up blood, begging the stranger to take her child and run. It is a heavy, emotional moment that shows the human cost of the invasion. The businesswoman grits her teeth, her face full of determination. She promises to protect the child for sure, stepping up when it matters most. She grabs the little girl and starts running as the mother slumps over in the background. It is a grim choice, but she is determined to keep her word. A close-up of her eyes shows her sensing something huge and terrifying looming over them. The monster has finally caught up, and it is huge. A giant, flower-headed monster screeches right behind them, its maw wide open. They are cornered, and it looks like it is game over for both of them. She thinks this is how she dies, closing her eyes as the monster's shadow falls over her. She has given up hope of surviving. Suddenly, a blur of motion cuts through the monster, sending it flying back. Someone has intervened at the absolute last second. It is Hyung-myung, now fully Randolph, his eyes glowing blue as he stands between the girl and the beast. He is surrounded by a web of blue energy, looking like an absolute unit. The woman stares at him in pure shock, her eyes wide as she realizes they are still alive. She cannot believe a person could just do that. She clutches the little girl tight, whispering that she survived. Tears start to form as the relief finally hits her. She looks up at the back of her savior, wondering who this man is. Randolph looks imposing, a lone warrior in a collapsing world. More monsters appear, their terrifying eyes glowing red in the dark. The city is crawling with these things, and one savior might not be enough. She screams for him to look out, her face twisted in fear as another monster lunges at them. The danger is far from over. A massive, multi-headed beast roars, its presence looming over the entire street. She cries out again for him to look out, realizing they are facing a whole new level of threat. She huddles on the ground with the little girl, looking up in pure terror. She stammers, wondering what that is, staring at the absolute unit that just appeared. It is the High Dragon. She thinks about a dragon with 9 heads, completely dwarfed by its massive scale. Even the monsters should be scared now. A close-up of the High Dragon's sharp, stone-like scales shows it standing behind Randolph. He seems to have already mastered his summoning powers in the real world. Randolph stands atop the High Dragon's head, looking down at the city like a god. He calmly tells the woman to stay still, completely in control of the carnage. The woman stares up in absolute awe, her mouth hanging open. She thinks she must be dreaming, unable to comprehend the sight of a man commanding a 9-headed dragon. The little girl reaches out and cries for her mommy while the woman looks on in shock. It is a lot for a kid to take in. From a distance, the absolute destruction of the city is shown under a haze of smoke and fire. People run for cover while monsters continue their rampage. She looks up, her eyes wide with fear and wonder. A loud sound suggests another massive monster just landed nearby. The city is a full-blown war zone, with monsters of all shapes and sizes battling it out. It is a total disaster area, and things are only getting worse. Monsters are appearing simultaneously across the entire world, not just Korea. A giant mantis is seen near the Eiffel Tower, showing this is a global extinction event. Along with the monsters, some warriors have also appeared, cutting through the beasts as if they were made of paper. These are the players being summoned to reality. A close-up of some high-tech armor shows someone telling everyone not to worry. A new group of heroes is stepping up to save humanity. A man in cool armor stands on a piece of rubble, holding a glowing blue sword. He yells that he will protect all of them, trying to rally the terrified citizens. A dark banner announces that a new world of monsters will soon descend. The narrator explains that the world was rapidly changing into something completely unrecognizable. The same ominous message repeats on a dark background. It is clear that the old world is gone forever, and this new world will be brutal. Someone watches the heroes broadcast on their phone and lets out a dismissive sound. Not everyone is a fan of this self-proclaimed protector's attitude. A mysterious man sits in a darkened room, sipping a drink while watching the news. He mutters that they are idiots, wasting their fragments of the broken golden scale. He is clearly a pro. Another player named Massacre looks tough with some golden scale fragments of his own. It is confirmed that reality and Pangea are beginning to merge. He clenches his fist with a determined look, his arm muscles bulging. He thinks that those who obtain more fragments and power will become the protagonists of this era. He looks at the updated rankings for Main Quest 1, Survival. Randolph is at the top with 220 points, an absurdly high score. He stares at the name Randolph, wondering if this guy is Phantom. The mystery surrounding the protagonist is already growing among the top players. He thinks about Phantom, also known as Ghost. This name carries a lot of weight in the Pangea community. He is the legend everyone wants to find. A vision of a powerful, long-haired warrior in blue armor is shown. He was the first person to form an NPC expedition and almost cleared the game. The narrator reminds us of the high stakes and brutal consequences of losing in this game-like reality, noting that it ended in complete failure. The vision continues with red energy swirls and a dramatic sound. It is a reminder of the epic battle that led to the world falling apart. Another mysterious man looks at a blue screen, his face scarred and serious. He believes Phantom must have been summoned the moment the expedition failed. A screen explains that appearance and equipment are reset, but talents from previous characters carry over. This is the secret to Randolph's insane strength from the start. The scarred man smirks, finally understanding why Randolph got such a high score. He is already planning his next move against this legendary rival. A close-up of a character's face shows them looking thoughtful, as they consider the implications of players taking on their game forms in the real world. The narration confirms that monsters and summoned players have appeared in reality. Two small droplets of water represent the meeting of two very different worlds. Randolph is back in his bath, looking buff and thoughtful. He realizes that they have taken on the form of their characters on Pangea, noting the realism. He closes his eyes, thinking about how clear the situation is becoming. The lines between his lives are blurring more every second. He remembers his last character, who nearly reached the game's ending during the Demon Realm expedition. It was a massive 5-year effort that fell apart at the very end. He recalls how NPC mercenaries and even friendly NPC companions betrayed them right at the finish line. The image of a companion being backstabbed is still a bitter memory. He wonders if all of those interfering variables were players summoned just like him. A splash of water punctuates his realization that he might have been fighting humans. He walks down a hallway, his steps echoing loudly. He thinks about the rivals and players who did not want him to win. He looks determined, walking with a purpose. He is done being a victim of betrayal and is ready to take control of his own destiny in this new world. He thinks that people targeted him back then, and that might still be the case now. He knows he has a target on his back as the top player. He enters a grand room, his steps sounding on the marble floor. He realizes he cannot just hide after logging out. Safety is a luxury he can no longer afford. He tells himself that he needs to grow stronger quickly. The stakes are too high to waste any more time relaxing in a bath. Isabella is sitting on her throne, looking bored. She asks if he has finished talking with the stars when Randolph finally walks back in. Randolph gives her a small smile. He says yes, and that he has come to keep his promise with her. Isabella looks pleased, replying with a simple, "Good." He adds that he has one condition, holding up a hand. Isabella looks intrigued and leans forward to ask what it is. Some maids walk by in the background as Randolph makes his move. The palace is a busy place, but he has Isabella's full attention now. Isabella looks shocked, her red eyes widening in disbelief. Randolph says the word sanctuary, revealing his next destination for a class change. Isabella cannot believe what she is hearing. She yells, asking if he is insane. The sanctuary clearly has a very dangerous reputation in Pangea. Randolph just gives her that cool, confident smirk. He tells her there is a star there that can be obtained. He has a look like he knows all the secrets. A blue window announces Main Quest 2, OBTAAA, class. His next mission is to head to the sanctuary and officially upgrade his character for the battles ahead. A huge full moon hangs over a crumbling stone fortress. The atmosphere is tense, suggesting a brutal event is about to happen in the ruins. The camera pans down to a dark hallway where the floor is covered in blood. Someone has been busy and did not leave any witnesses. A close-up shows a high-heeled boot stepping into a fresh puddle of blood. The squelching sound is unsettling. It is Isabella, and she looks absolutely livid. She wipes her blade clean, having just finished off an entire army of guards on her own. She walks off into the darkness without a backward glance. Randolph watches her go, thinking that she is extremely reliable. The scene fades out with a caption indicating a flashback to a few hours earlier. We go back to see how Randolph convinced her to enter this mess. Isabella stares at Randolph as if he has grown a second head. He tells her to take him into the sanctuary, and she looks like she is about to explode. Randolph stands tall, completely unbothered by her death glare. He explains that if the first quest was about survival, the second one is about getting a class. He leans in with a smug smirk, looking like he holds all the cards. He tells her the star is there, dangling a carrot she cannot resist. Isabella is still skeptical and asks if the star is really there. Randolph confirms it is hidden, but he knows exactly where to find it. A close-up on Randolph's cold, calculating eyes shows he's the only player who knows the precise location, and he is using that to force her hand. Isabella tries to warn him that the sanctuary is not a place anyone can just walk into. She looks genuinely worried about getting caught bringing an outsider inside. Randolph thinks to himself that if he had not persuaded her, his head would be rolling on the floor right now. They arrive at a massive, dark entrance. The lighting is ominous, giving off classic dungeon vibes. They look out over a vast, glowing purple abyss called the Holy Ground. It looks beautiful, but there is surely a boss waiting at the bottom. The epic title card flashes on screen again. They are about to enter the most dangerous zone of Pangea. System windows with warnings start appearing. The recommended level is 10, and Randolph is only level 2. His chances of survival seem low. A purple aura surrounds Randolph as a hidden trait called Giant's Demon Resistance activates. It is the only thing keeping him from melting in the toxic atmosphere. They start walking down the stairs, and Randolph calculates in his head. A level 2 character would normally die in seconds, so he considers sending Isabella ahead. The camera focuses on a foot stepping onto the stone path. Randolph is confident because he knows exactly what awaits him. A wide shot shows a deep, glowing purple chasm with floating pillars. It is a massive vertical drop, and the quest window hovers in the center of the screen. Randolph has a determined look. He knows that somewhere in this pit, he can obtain the specific class that will make him unstoppable. A few pebbles fall off the ledge and disappear into the dark abyss without a sound. It is a very long way down. Isabella stands with her arms crossed, looking completely over the situation. She is not a fan of his secret shortcuts. She turns her back on him, her hair whipping around. She seems ready to lecture him on how dangerous this place really is. Isabella smirks for once. She thinks she has found a flaw in his plan and is about to enjoy being right. She starts walking away, telling him they have taken the wrong path. Randolph just watches her and asks where she is going, as if watching a comedy. She explains that the downward air currents will sweep away anyone who tries to cross without knowing the trick. She acts superior, but Randolph is just getting started. Randolph steps up behind her with a massive grin. He asks if she is scared, and she looks ready to explode with anger. Her face shows pure offense that a level 2 slave just called her out for being afraid. Isabella tries to play it cool, saying, "A snake princess does not know fear." Randolph doubles down, calling her surprisingly timid. He's playing with fire. He crouches down and offers her a piggyback ride. He claims it is because she is checking for a safer route, but he is totally trolling her. She blows a fuse, screaming about how he dares. Her face is beet red, and she looks like she's about to stab him. Randolph gets serious for a second, reminding her that if they waste time, the Queen's pursuit team will catch them. He is making sense, even if he is being a brat. Isabella finally caves, blushing hard as she closes her eyes and accepts the ride. A sound effect indicates she has landed on his back. Randolph is now carrying a princess through a deadly sanctuary. He says, of course, in a way that is too casual for someone about to jump into a pit. He tells her to hold tight and launches himself off the ledge. He has no fear, only pure gamer instinct. He sprints at incredible speed right toward the empty air, looking like a total blur. It seems like a suicide run. Isabella screams that he is going the wrong direction. She clings to him for dear life as they hurtle toward the drop. He jumps right off the edge into the dark void. She yells that there is no path there, but Randolph has a trick up his sleeve. His eye glows a bright neon blue as his mutant hidden trait activates. He's basically using wall hacks in real life. The system confirms the trait is active. He's about to see something Isabella cannot, and it will save their lives. The blue light floods the chasm, revealing glowing paths that were completely invisible. This is some serious high-level play. Isabella is stunned and asks if there is actually an invisible path. Randolph just confirms it is the real path, acting like it is no big deal. She has an existential crisis on his shoulder, wondering how he knows a path that even she, the second in command, did not know. Randolph cannot help himself, and teases that he did not know the second in command had acrophobia. She just snaps back for him to shut up. She is pouting on his back, her face scrunched up. Randolph tells her she is a little too heavy for a level 2 to carry, which is asking for a death wish. They are shown from the side, running up an invisible staircase made of light. It is an epic shot that shows how crazy the world's mechanics can get. They share a close-up moment where Isabella looks at him and asks if they have met before. Randolph just gives her the silent treatment, keeping his secrets. They keep sprinting up the glowing stairs as lightning crackles around them. It looks like they are running straight into a storm. Blue energy swirls around them as they reach the top. Randolph thinks to himself that he has seen her, but she has never seen him. It is very cryptic. They burst into a blinding white light at the end of the path. It is like they are leaving the physical world and entering something stranger. The screen is almost entirely white from the energy discharge. They are crossing a major barrier, and the transition is intense. They land in a lush, green landscape where pink petals are falling gently. It is a complete change of scenery. Randolph explains it is a domain barrier, a giant magic dome where you can only see what is inside by following the secret path. He is basically an encyclopedia of game cheats. They approach a dark cave entrance between some massive boulders. The peaceful petals are gone, and it is back to business. A single glowing red eye opens in the pitch-black darkness of the cave. Whatever is in there is not happy about having visitors. The ground starts to shake, and massive boulders begin to rumble and crack. Something huge is waking up and about to ruin their day. 3 monstrous rock wolves emerge from the shadows, covered in red, glowing energy. They look like they are made of pure malice and stone. But they are just the appetizers. A massive stone golem with a glowing rune on its chest rises up, towering over everything. Randolph looks at the beast and realizes it is an upper-tier golem. He knows even a tiny graze from it would mean instant death for a level 2. He puts Isabella down and asks if her leg cramp is better. She tells him to shut his mouth and just watch, as she is finally going to show off. The golem slams its fist into the ground with a massive sound. The impact is so strong it looks like a small earthquake. Debris and dust fly everywhere as the golem keeps smashing. The two of them look like tiny ants compared to this walking mountain. The golem lets out a roar and flexes its massive stone muscles. It is looking for blood and does not care whose it is. Isabella stands her ground as the golem looms over her. She looks tiny, but her predator energy is palpable. She leaps into the air with her twin daggers, moving so fast she is almost a blur. The counterattack has officially started. Isabella is a whirlwind of slashes, her blades creating streaks of light in the air. She targets the golem's joints with pinpoint accuracy. She lands a massive hit right on the golem's rune, causing a blinding explosion of light. This girl is absolute fire when she wants to be. She lands gracefully, her face a mask of cold focus. She mutters that it will be over soon, and you know she is right. She leaps right back into the fray, jumping onto the golem's head. She is playing it like a boss fight from a different game. A rapid-fire montage of Isabella's strikes shows her dismantling the golem piece by piece. She is taking it apart as if following a manual. Randolph watches from the sidelines, looking genuinely impressed. He admits she is an incredible assassination-specialized character, even if he did raise her himself. The golem's rune starts to glow and crack as it takes more damage. Isabella is not giving it a second to breathe. She slices right through its massive stone arm as if it were made of butter. The golem is losing pieces fast. Isabella lands in a heroic pose as the golem finally collapses behind her. Level 8 is definitely more than just a number for this princess. The giant beast crumbles into a pile of rubble and dust, but before Randolph can celebrate, a system notification stops him cold. He stares at a screen that says he can now acquire the class Golem Maker. He is completely baffled because Isabella did all the work. The system explains that Golem Maker is a rare, high-tier summoner class. It is an amazing find, but Randolph's eyes are on something else. He clicks Decline without a second thought. He says that is not the class he wants, proving he is looking for the ultimate build. Ominous purple energy starts creeping along the ground. Randolph explains that the thing that can give him the class he wants is on a whole other level. Isabella looks totally spooked, her daggers ready. Even she can feel the change in the atmosphere. The air is getting heavy. A wide shot shows a dark valley filled with toxic purple mist and jagged mountains. This is clearly the real end boss territory. The camera focuses on a massive, jagged peak. A blue window states that the ancient king, the master of this mountain, is buried here. The system warns that the ancient king is raging against them for intruding on his domain. This is not just a boss, it is a force of nature. Randolph looks down into the purple clouds with a calm expression. He says that it has finally shown itself, as if meeting an old friend. A giant snake-like head emerges from the mist, its eyes glowing with ancient power. It is the greater god who guards the stars, and it looks hungry. Isabella and Randolph are shown from behind as they face a massive, glowing red giant in the distance. This is Ancient King Dramit, and he is ready for war. The final system warning is crystal clear. Randolph is far below the recommended level for this fight. A level 2 versus a level 10 plus is an insane matchup. Randolph stares down the massive purple heads of the beast. He says that it has finally shown itself, looking much cooler than a level 2 character should. The system identifies the beast as the greater god who guards the star. It is an enormous creature with glowing red eyes that signal a boss fight. The dragon looms over Randolph and Isabella, its presence filling half the screen. Randolph calls it Ancient King Dramut, showing his expert game knowledge. Another system warning appears, reminding us that Randolph is severely underleveled. A level 2 versus a level 10 plus Sanctuary Guardian is a fight on Nightmare mode. Randolph feels the overwhelming pressure from the dragon. He wonders if this is actually the mountain guardian he remembers from the lore. A wide shot shows the massive scale of Dramut. He is coiled around the sanctuary ruins as if he owns the place, which he essentially does. Randolph tells Isabella not to worry, because despite Dramut's appearance, he is actually quite gentle. His words are hard to believe, given the giant fangs. Randolph starts to say that the creature never attacks first, but he is cut off as Dramut lunges forward with a terrifying roar. The gentle part was wrong. The dragon's massive tail slams down right where Isabella was standing. She barely dodges the strike, looking panicked as the ground shatters. Isabella is sent flying back from the shockwave, landing hard in the dirt. She stares at Randolph as if he is a total idiot for calling the creature gentle. Randolph just stands there with a goofy, embarrassed expression. It was bad timing for him to be wrong about the monster's behavior. Isabella is fuming, a red aura flaring around her. She's been tricked into a death trap and is not happy about it. Randolph thinks it is strange because he remembers this creature as a friendly guide. Something in the game's code must have changed. Isabella points her blade at the giant dragon and screams, asking if this snake looks friendly to him. She has a valid point. Dramut speaks, his voice booming through the valley. He tells the challenger of the sanctuary to defeat him and prove their qualification. Isabella tries to back out, yelling that she is not the one challenging it. Isabella's life flashes before her eyes as she realizes the dragon does not care who started it. She blushes from pure frustration and fear, trying to talk her way out. Dramut's massive tail sweeps through the air like a whip. It moves so fast it creates sonic booms in the canyon. The dragon slams the ground with enough force to create giant explosions of rock and dust. It warns that if they cannot prove themselves, they will never leave alive. Isabella does backflips to avoid being crushed, screaming at Randolph to stop standing there. Randolph is lost in thought, wondering how the mechanics of this clear changed so much. Randolph's eyes widen as a terrifying realization hits him. He thinks he knows why the dragon is so aggressive. The text, "The Ancient King Dramut," flashes on screen. This is the official boss introduction for the Mountain Guardian. Dramut looms high in the air, looking like a literal god of the mountain. He is a mountain guardian who guards the star, and he takes his job seriously. The dragon is described as a greater god with a gigantic body. He's not just a monster, he's a deity in this ecosystem. The lore reveals Dramut was an enchanted beast who gained wisdom and size from the spiritual energy of the star. He is literally powered by the item Randolph wants. A flashback shows Wilhelm, Randolph's previous legendary character. Wilhelm had cleared this place before, looking like an absolute unit with his white hair and armor. Wilhelm was a level 10, 5-star transcendent rank character. He was at the peak of power in Pangininia, which explains why the dragon respected him. Back then, Dramut was actually helpful, obediently guiding Wilhelm to the star. The reason was simple: Wilhelm was actually qualified to lead. Randolph scratches his chin, realizing he is currently a level 2 scrub compared to his old self. He wonders what to do now, while Isabella is fighting for her life. He makes a hilarious, wide-eyed face as he watches Isabella struggle. He finally realizes that being a star-bearer does not mean much without the muscle to back it up. Isabella is caught in a massive shockwave and sent tumbling across the grass. Dramut is not holding back. She groans in pain, her clothes tattered from the struggle. She realizes that because of the sanctuary's poison, her body will not move properly. A close-up of Isabella shows her gasping for air. She knows stepping into this place unprepared was a huge mistake. She slumps to the ground, exhausted and vulnerable. The massive shadow of Dramut's tail looms over her, ready for the killing blow. Suddenly, Randolph shouts for Dramut to stop. It is a bold move for a level 2, but he is betting everything on his bluff. The dragon's heads freeze in place, circling like vultures. The aura of the sanctuary pulses as Dramut pauses his attack. Dramut narrows one massive red eye, focusing entirely on Randolph. He is intrigued that a lowly creature would dare order him around. Dramut speaks in a dark, gravelly tone. He asks how Randolph knows his true name. He is genuinely confused how a random human knows the secret name only his master should know. Randolph puts on his most confident smirk and says the coldest line yet. He claims that his master, Wilhelm, has returned. It is a mic drop moment. The epic series title card appears again, signaling that the real story is finally beginning. The bluff is in play. Isabella watches from the ground, unable to believe what she is hearing. She's probably wondering who Wilhelm is and why Randolph is acting so crazy. Dramut is stunned, his head's drifting closer to get a better look. He asks if he is Wilhelm, his voice trembling with suspicion and hope. The dragon lets out a sharp sound as if trying to process the absurdity of the claim. Dramut throws his head back and lets out a massive, mocking laugh. He is literally howling at the idea that this weak kid is his legendary master. The dragon stops laughing and gets serious. He shouts that Randolph has not even prepared to receive the star, calling him out on his current weakness. Dramut continues to roast him, saying Randolph is weaker than even the golem sentinel. Randolph just plugs his ears with a bored look, not letting the insults affect him. The dragon reminisces about Wilhelm, calling him a perfect transcendent worthy of being his master. He is basically fangirling over Randolph's old character. A close-up of Dramut's glowing red eye is shown. He explains that since Wilhelm failed the expedition, it means he met a complete death. To the dragon, his master is gone forever. The dragon lets out a deafening roar, showing off its rows of sharp teeth. He screams that a lowly creature like him has no right to speak his name, looking ready to bite Randolph's head off. Randolph stands his ground as the dragon's aura flares red around him. He looks directly into the mouth of death without blinking. A flashback shows a masked Wilhelm, looking broad-shouldered and imposing. This is the image Dramut has of his master. Dramut moves to attack again, roaring about the contract they made. He is clearly bound by ancient laws that he thinks Randolph is disrespecting. The dragon is shocked when Randolph interrupts him, asking how he knows about the existence of his contract. Randolph has just leveled up his leverage. Randolph gives him a smug side-eye. He thinks that no one should be able to know about it, knowing he has found the ultimate loophole in the dragon's logic. An ancient scroll appears in a vision, detailing the contract. It states that whoever obtains the star becomes the new master of the mountain. The contract also says its contents cannot be revealed to anyone. If revealed, the person who breaks the pact dies from a curse. Pangininia does not joke about its legal documents. A close-up of heavy iron chains against a red sky represents the binding nature of the contract. This is not something Dramut can just ignore. Randolph is sweating a little but is relieved that the game's rules still apply in this reality. Since he is technically the soul of Wilhelm, he knows the curse will not touch him. Dramut looms over him, demanding to know who he is. He's getting more and more frustrated that this human knows so much. Randolph looks up with a cool, detached expression. He challenges the dragon to guide him, saying the star will prove who he is. Dramut's eye is wide with fury. He warns that the star shows no mercy to those without qualification and that Randolph will be lit in flames the moment he approaches it. Randolph replies with a wicked little smile, suggesting they will see. He asks the dragon if he is afraid the star will actually reveal his true master. Dramut laughs again, calling Randolph a brat who looks like he would crumble from one bite. He thinks Randolph's confidence is just pure arrogance. The dragon finally relents. He grumbles that he will bring him to the star but does not believe he is Wilhelm, deciding to let the star do the killing for him. Dramut slithers away, leading the way into the deeper parts of the sanctuary. Randolph follows, looking tiny against the dragon's massive form. A shot of the dark blue sky through the clouds marks a transition in the scene. The final trial is about to begin. Isabella stares in pure awe. She mutters, looking at the glowing blue altar that has finally been revealed. She asks if this is where the star is, seeing the massive stone towers reaching into the purple mist. The atmosphere here is thick with ancient magic. The camera pans up to show Dramut watching from above as Randolph approaches the heart of the sanctuary. This is the moment of truth. Randolph walks confidently toward the altar, explaining that the star is the object placed right on top. He acts as if he is just going to pick up a grocery item. The star is shown. It is a glowing white skull sitting inside a magic hexagram. The text confirms it is the star, and it looks ominous. Isabella is confused and asks if that skull is a star. Randolph clarifies that more precisely. It is Leah's face. Lore is about to be revealed. A vision shows goddess Leah, a divine being in white robes. When she died, her body split into 32 fragments, the stars that players use to gain power. Randolph explains that these fragments are used as catalysts for players to achieve transcendence. He reaches out to grab the glowing skull without any hesitation. A close-up of Randolph's intense face shows the skull starting to vibrate and glow. The spiritual energy is reacting to his touch. Suddenly, a massive pillar of orange and red fire erupts from the altar. It is a literal inferno of divine energy trying to burn Randolph to a crisp. Isabella screams, asking if he is sure it is okay, while the dragon laughs in the background. Dramut is having the time of his life watching the brat get rejected. Dramut gloats that he warned him. He thinks the star ultimately rejected Randolph and that his master is officially gone. Randolph's silhouette is shown in the middle of the flames, looking like he is being vaporized. It is an intense shot that makes you think it is actually game over. Randolph is actually grinning through the fire. He says that the bastard is serious, sounding more annoyed than dead. He's actually handling the heat. He thinks about his bug-skipping methods from the game. He admits the process is messy, but in Pangagenia, results are the only thing that matter. The skull starts to crack under the pressure of Randolph's grasp. He explains that if you acquire a star without a class, the star automatically grants you that class. He has found the ultimate cheat code. The word VOID flashes as the skull shatters completely. Randolph has triggered a hidden interaction that most players would never even dream of. A massive list of his 13 hidden traits floods the screen. All that potential was finally being funneled into a single moment of absolute growth. Randolph stands in the center of a blinding white light, his hand outstretched. He is absorbing the raw power of the star directly into his body. System windows start appearing like crazy. Mana is being converted into star energy, and his stats are getting a massive +5 boost across the board. The system confirms that he has acquired the class Star Successor. This is a unique, broken class that will only get stronger with every star he finds. Randolph is glowing like a supernova, his hair whipping in the wind. He looks like a completely different person than the guy who was being whipped in the desert earlier. A close-up of his glowing hand shows the last of the star's energy being absorbed. The Star Successor has officially been born. Isabella is frozen in shock, her eyes wide. She whispers, asking if he absorbed the star. She is realizing she is partnered with someone who is way more than just a lucky slave. Randolph stands with his back to us as the light fades. He looks more imposing than ever, a true main character finally stepping into his power. Randolph turns to Isabella and asks her a heavy question about what she wants to do once her curse is lifted. He is ready to follow through on his end of the deal. Isabella looks stunned by the question, then admits she wants to leave the desert and find her family's bloodline. She is finally sharing her real dream. Randolph gives her a serious look. He says he will bless her so she can leave the desert under one condition. He always has a catch. Isabella looks at him expectantly, asking what it is. A glimmer of hope can be seen in her eyes for the first time in ages. A shot of the Desert Queen sitting on her throne in the dark is shown. Randolph promises that after he helps Isabella, he will grant her true freedom. Isabella looks down, whispering that she is, as she realizes her entire destiny is about to change. Randolph turns back to Dramut and asks if the owner of the star is his master. Correct? He is re-establishing the pecking order with the dragon. Dramut is sweating bullets now, whispering a shaky yes. He has officially been put in his place by a level 2 human who absorbed a goddess's face. Randolph points directly at us with a fierce look on his face. He is taking charge of this world and does not care who stands in his way. The quest completion window pops up. He earned 230 points, set a new record, and even got the attention of several combat-oriented constellations. The big guns are watching him now. The system warns that the constellations are taking an interest in his steps. When the gods start watching you like a reality show, you know you have made it. The scene shifts back to the Queen's throne room. Someone reports that Isabella entered the sanctuary with the slave she captured. The villains are officially catching on. A row of bald, muscular guards kneels in respect. The tension is rising as the news of Isabella's betrayal reaches the higher-ups. Things are about to get messy. Randolph has officially tamed the beast. He stands before Dramut and asks if the owner of the star is his true master, re-establishing the hierarchy with ice-cold confidence. Dramut's giant glowing eye looks down, a single bead of sweat rolling down its scaly face. The dragon stammers a yes, completely submissive to its new lord. Randolph commands the bastard to bow his head, pointing a finger directly at the mountain guardian. He has gone from a slave to a dragon tamer in less than a day. Main Quest 2, Obtain a Class, is complete, and the rewards are legendary. A total score of 230 points is updated to the Hall of Fame, a result that is literally sending chills down the game system's spine. The notifications keep rolling in, informing him that several combat-oriented constellations are now watching his every move. When the gods start tuning in, you know you are doing something right. The scene shifts back to the real world, showing a bright, sunny city skyline. It is a peaceful contrast to the dark, monster-infested ruins they just left. The scene is outside an Angel-us coffee shop. Even in a world merging with a deadly game, people still need their caffeine fix. Inside the cafe, everything looks normal at first, with empty chairs and typical city vibes. But the conversation at one of the tables is anything but normal. Two high-level players are huddled together, questioning if this new Randolph guy is actually the legendary Phantom. They know getting a higher class score than the current pro, Gracia, should be impossible. The guy in the red shirt is stressed, realizing the 5-year veteran ghost player has finally resurfaced. They are desperate to contact him before any other guilds can get his secrets. A girl with blonde pigtails, who we can assume is Gracia, sips her drink thoughtfully. She is wondering how someone they searched for years could just appear out of nowhere. The team realizes that, since Randolph is a real player now, there must be a way to track him down. They start brainstorming ideas, looking ready to start a manhunt. Gracia wonders if they should try fishing to lure him out. She knows he will need tons of items if he wants to stay at the top for Main Quest 3. She explains the fishing technique, uploading a high-quality item at a dirt-cheap price in a secret auction hall. Then, you use a special talisman to track the location of the person who buys it. It is a dirty move used to track, rob, or kill new players who do not know any better. These guys are playing to win and do not care about playing fair. Her partner is skeptical, doubting someone as skilled as Phantom would fall for such a basic bait. He would know every talisman option in the game by heart. Gracia leans over the table, looking totally lost. Her teammates just stare at her, wondering if she has finally lost it. Suddenly, she goes full fangirl, clutching her face and screaming with excitement. She is convinced that Phantom's decisiveness is not normal and is dying to see what he does next. Her teammates are just holding their phones, looking completely done with her. They are trying to run a guild, and she is treating this like a romantic drama. The leaderboard for Main Quest 2 shows Randolph firmly in first place with 230 points. It also notes that the secret auction rights for the player, Massacre, have been revoked. A close-up of the screen shows someone wondering what kind of insane class gives that many points. 230 is an unheard-of number for a single quest. It turns out, Massacre is the scarred guy we saw earlier, and he is not happy about his ranking. He looks brooding and dangerous, already plotting his comeback. Flashes of a brutal battle are shown, with blood splattered across the screen. It seems Massacre is doing some grinding of his own to get back to the top. Massacre thinks that as long as he kills anyone in the top ranks, he will rise back up anyway. He stands over a fallen enemy, the definition of a toxic player. The series title card appears once more, reminding us that starting with 13 hidden traits is a serious power trip. Back in the game, Randolph and Isabella are speeding through the sanctuary. The environment is a blur as they travel toward the exit. A sub-quest, Sanctuary Exploration, is complete. He is ticking off objectives left and right like he is on a completionist run. His exploration rate is a perfect 100%. The system calls it an unbelievable number, and clearing a sanctuary that fast is a major flex. He unlocks the Conqueror of a Sanctuary achievement and receives a teleport book. It is a huge quality-of-life item that lets him zip back to explored locations once a day. Randolph tells Isabella there is a downward slope and a right turn coming up. He is navigating this place like he built it himself, which is scaring Isabella a little. A notification appears that he has accumulated enough experience to level up. He has finally hit level 3, which feels slow to him but is actually lightning fast. His new stats are all boosted to 36, with a +5 from the star effect. He notes that the more talents you have, the more experience you need to level up, which is the price of being a star successor. He shakes off the level up high, focusing on the loot. He knows the rewards from the main quest are the real prize. He says he has 2 extremely rare items for his current level, looking pleased with his haul. He is building an inventory that most endgame players would envy. Randolph stops to check his equipment, while Isabella watches from the background with a confused expression. She still has not figured out that her partner is playing a completely different game than she is. One of the rewards is the Shadow Cloak. It is a sleek white cape that can turn the wearer completely invisible, perfect for a guy who needs to move unseen. Suddenly, a massive explosion of light and rock erupts nearby. Something has definitely found them, and it is not looking for a friendly chat. Dramut narrows his red eye, sensing a massive disturbance. The Mountain Guardian is officially on high alert. Dramut reports to his new master that intruders have been detected in the sanctuary. 3 small figures are seen approaching from the distance. The cleanup squad has arrived. Randolph and Isabella are standing right on top of Dramut's head. Randolph asks what is happening, finally snapping out of his loot-sorting trance. Isabella identifies them as the Queen's pursuit squad. They stayed in the sanctuary a bit too long, and now the law has caught up to them. Isabella asks what he will do, her voice full of worry. She knows the squad will have a sizable force, and they are currently trapped in a canyon. Randolph dons his new white cloak, looking thoughtful. He doubts that even with the dragon, they can handle a full pursuit team right now. Randolph says that Dramut is the guardian, so why would they fight? He is already thinking of a way to use the environment to their advantage. Isabella is blushing and clutching her chest, probably overwhelmed by how calm Randolph is being. She is finally starting to see the master in him. A wide shot shows the massive dragon preparing to face the intruders. Randolph and Isabella are safely on its back as it roars, and they shout for Dramut to be ready. A close-up of Dramut's face is shown. Randolph orders him to do his job, and the dragon looks ready to unleash some ancient fury on the Queen's men. Dramut's move creates a massive shockwave that rattles the entire canyon. This is the ultimate distraction. The pursuit squad is panicking, screaming about a giant sea serpent appearing out of nowhere. Dramut is doing a great job of playing the scary monster role. Randolph and Isabella take the opportunity to bolt, running across a stone bridge. Isabella asks if it is really okay for just the 2 of them to leave the dragon behind. Isabella thinks the Queen is not personally coming, so they should be fine. She figures it is just an advance unit they are dealing with. Randolph gets serious, noting that if they get stalled, the main force will eventually surround the sanctuary. Speed is the only thing that matters right now. Isabella is surprised to learn that Randolph is not abandoning Dramut. It is just that the Mountain Guardian physically cannot leave the sanctuary. Only humans can make a run for the exit. Randolph explains they need to reach the warp gate at the edge of the desert. Since he lifted Isabella's curse, she is finally free to use it and leave this wasteland behind. A foot slams onto the stone floor as they reach their destination. They have finally arrived at the gate that leads to freedom. The warp gate is an enormous stone archway glowing with ancient power. It is an imposing sight, but Randolph warns that the gate requires time to activate. Isabella looks up at the gate, her face full of hope. She whispers that once they get past here, her dream of leaving the desert will finally be within reach. Randolph confirms they will be out of the desert soon, but they have to wait for the gate to warm up. It is the classic, defend the objective scenario. Isabella asks how long, looking slightly worried. Randolph's answer is not great, around half a day. That is a long time to stay hidden. A sweeping view of the vast, empty desert ruins is shown. There is absolutely nowhere to hide out here, so they are counting on Dramut to keep the pursuit squad busy. Randolph decides he needs to check what is happening in reality while they wait. He claims he needs to communicate with the star, which is basically gamer code for logging out. Isabella looks at him with a mix of suspicion and vulnerability. She asks if she can trust him. She is finally letting her guard down and is terrified of being left alone. Randolph puts a reassuring hand on her arm. The star-bearer is giving his word that he will be back. Isabella grits her teeth and says she will protect him. She is stepping up to guard his physical body while his soul travels to the stars. The screen shows, logging out, log out complete. The game world fades away and Randolph officially leaves the desert for a while. Hyung wakes up in his messy bed, looking exhausted. He's back in his real body, and the silence of his apartment is a huge shock after all that dragon fighting. He sits up on the floor, groaning. He mutters that he is still not used to that feeling when he returns. Going from a buff warrior to a regular guy is a serious trip. He immediately reaches for his phone, checking for any new monster alerts or disaster warnings. He is relieved to see that things seem to have calmed down for a moment. He thinks that it looks like monsters have not appeared yet, sitting cross-legged on the floor. It seems the invasion is happening in waves, and he's caught a lucky break. He looks at his status window, which is still visible even in reality. The destruction progress of Pangeninia is at 766%. Once it hits 10%, a major fissure will open. The clock is ticking. He realizes he will need to return to reality periodically to gather info. Monsters and other players are now his biggest concern in both worlds. Suddenly, his phone buzzes with a notification. He wonders who would be contacting him at a time like this. His eyes bug out when he sees the caller ID. His ex-girlfriend, Kim Seo-yeon, is the last person he expected to hear from. The scene cuts to a cafe called Coffee and Tea in the city. It looks like a high-end spot, far from Hunmayung's usual hangouts. Seo-yeon is on the phone, looking annoyed. She is yelling at someone, presumably her new boyfriend, about how she already buys them food and clothes. Her new relationship is not a fairy tale. She says into the phone that they should just talk in person. The person on the other end clearly does not want to meet, which is just making her more frustrated. She sends a final text saying she is meeting a friend today, so he should not contact her. She is clearing her schedule to go and deal with Hyung Wong. Seo-yeon slams her phone down and sighs. She mutters about what an annoying jerk he is. She is clearly frustrated with her current life and is looking for a way out. She sits alone at her table, looking at her phone. She thinks back to Hunmyung, admitting that even though he was pathetic, at least he used to listen to her. She remembers Hyunmayung slumped over at the table when she dumped him. She's actually regretting the breakup, thinking she should have held on just a little longer. Another vision of the pathetic Hunmayung is shown. She is rewriting history in her head, trying to convince herself that his obedience made him worth keeping. Hyunyoung finally shows up, and she actually looks happy to see him. It is a total 180-degree turn in attitude. She acts sweet and invites him to sit down. She says he came early and she thought she would have to wait, trying to act like they never had a messy breakup. Hyunmyung stands over the table, looking cold and detached. Seo-yeon notices his vibe has changed and that he looks fitter. He is not having any of her games and tells her to just say what she wants. Seo-yeon smirks, thinking some things never change. She is convinced his new prideful attitude is just an act and that he is still the same guy underneath. She reaches across the table, trying to be flirtatious. She says he always came right away when she called him and that it is something she has always really liked about him. She gives him a deep, soulful look. She says that after they broke up, she realized how good he was, thought about him, and regretted it a lot. She is laying it on thick. Hyunmayung just stares back with a deadpan expression. She asks if he did not miss her. The silence is incredibly awkward. Hyunmung looks at a little sign on the table that says 1 drink per person. He realizes she called him here but did not even buy him a drink. This girl is a legendary cheapskate. Hyunmyung stands up, done with the conversation. He says that if she is done talking, he is leaving. Seo-yeon is stunned. She clearly expected him to crawl back to her. She yells for him to wait and asks if he did not hear her say she missed him, grabbing his arm. She cannot believe he is actually walking away from her. Hyunmayung turns back with a savage look. He asks if her new boyfriend knows she is meeting him right now. He points out that if she is going to flirt with multiple men, she should at least delete her SNS photos. Seo-yeon is frozen, her face turning beet red from shame and anger. She has been caught in her own trap, and it is a total critical hit. Hyunmyung walks away with a loud sound. Seo-yeon is left screaming at his back, but he does not even look back once. As he walks away, Hyunmyung realizes he is strangely calm. He knows that in the past he would have panicked. His growth in Panjaninia is actually changing his personality in reality too. He walks out into the crowded city streets, ignoring Seo-yeon's screams from behind. She yells that she was being nice to him, but she is just talking to the wind now. Suddenly, he sees a commotion. A group of thugs is cornering someone, shouting about what they are looking at and if they are enjoying the show. The city is already getting more dangerous. A psycho with a knife lunges forward, screaming that he will kill them. He looks completely unhinged, the kind of chaos the game invasion is bringing out in people. The knife is inches away from a terrified woman's throat. She screams while everyone else just watches in horror. The thug is grabbing the businesswoman we saw earlier by the hair. She gasps, asking who he is, looking into the eyes of a monster in human skin. A speech bubble cuts through the chaos, saying, "That is enough from the asshole." Someone is finally stepping in to stop this madness. It is Hyunmyung. He has grabbed the blade of the box cutter with his bare hand, blood dripping from his palm. He looks calm and incredibly intimidating. You do not mess with a level 3 star successor. Hyunmyung is no longer playing around. He grabs the attacker's blade with his bare hand as if it is nothing, blood and all. He tells the asshole that is enough, and he has never looked cooler. The thug is losing his mind, screaming at Hyunmyung to let go. Trying to stab a guy who just catches the blade with his palm is a bad day at the office. The tables have really turned. Hyunmyung squeezes the guy's wrist so hard you can almost hear the bones cracking. The man is begging for mercy after trying to act tough. Hyunmyung realizes the power from the game is 100% real. He feels like he could snap a wrist like a twig. His physical stats have carried over to reality. He tosses the trash aside like taking out the garbage. He turns to the woman he just saved and asks if she is all right. She is stunned, and it is understandable. She looks up at him with pure gratitude in her eyes. She says that thanks to him, she survived. She just watched a regular guy turn into a superhero. She is still processing what just happened. She does not even know where to start with the thank yous. Meeting your savior in the middle of a street fight is a lot to take in. Hyunmyung is staring at her a bit too hard, and she is getting a little self-conscious. He has that, "Wait, do I know you?" Look on his face. It clicks for him. This is the woman he saved earlier during the monster invasion. He is connecting the dots while she asks if he has something on his mind. He plays it cool, saying she just reminded him of someone. It is a typical main character move to keep secret identities secret. The thug is not done yet. He lunges back in for a sneak attack, screaming about dying. This guy really does not know when to quit. Hyunmyoung effortlessly dodges the strike. His reaction speed is insane now. He's moving like a high-level player in a low-level zone. A solid kick to the gut sends the attacker reeling. He is not just defending anymore, he is ending this right now. The impact is brutal. The guy lets out a strangled gasp as he is sent flying into the ground. Do not bring a box cutter to a superhuman fight. The reporter is completely starstruck. She is watching this guy dismantle a threat with zero effort. It is like watching an action movie in real time. He stands there looking absolutely menacing. He is not the pathetic guy his ex thought he was. He is a warrior now. The law finally shows up. The flashing lights of the police cruiser signal that the street brawl is officially over. The cops want to take him in for questioning. Hyunmyoung is baffled. He is the hero here. Welcome to the bureaucracy of the real world. Hana tries to defend him, explaining she reported the stalker and he was just helping. The cop is not having it, citing regulations on violence. Law and order do not care about your main quest progress. He is getting impatient. He has stars to hunt and a game world to save. This legal detour is the last thing he needs. The cop is playing by the book. He asks Hana if she will take responsibility if things get messy later. He is just doing his job, even if it is annoying. She drops the reporter card. She is Kim Hana from CK Broadcasting, and she is not letting the cops bully her savior. The power of the press is at work. The cops are sweating now. Nobody wants a major network reporting on them. She is basically threatening a PR nightmare to get him off the hook. The crowd is recognizing her now. She is the famous reporter who saved a kid on YouTube. Her reputation is doing more work than Hyunyoung's fists right now. The cops cave. They decide to let him go as long as she comes along as the complainant. Chalk that up as a win for the media. They finally have a moment to breathe. She thanks him again, and he plays it off as no big deal. He is a humble hero. She gives him her card. She is a Dimension Warrior reporter. That title definitely caught his attention. She explains that people who appeared the day the monsters invaded and defeated them are called Dimension Warriors. The world is coming up with its own names for players. He is surprised. People are not using the game's actual name. They are making up their own lore for what is happening. Hana asks for his info, but suddenly his ex, Seoyeon, bursts onto the scene. She asks if Hyunmyoung is alright. Talk about perfect timing for a drama explosion. Seoyeon is all over him, checking for injuries. Then she shoots a look at Hana, asking if she is the new girlfriend. The jealousy is real. He brushes Seoyeon off and focuses on Hana. He tells her he does not have a business card. Professional ghosting is in progress. Hana is not deterred. She just asked for his number directly. She is a reporter and knows how to get the scoop. Seoyeon is standing there in a red aura of rage and heartbreak. She cannot believe he is ignoring her for another woman. It is painful. Hana types his name into her phone. She says Park Hyunyoung is a nice name. He is officially in her contacts. She invites him out for coffee or dinner tomorrow. He actually agrees. Seoyeon's brain is probably melting right now. Now comes the confrontation. Seoyeon asks how he could do this to her. She seems to have forgotten that she broke up with him. She goes for the low blow, calling him a nobody. The claws are out. She is determined to make him feel as small as possible. The scene shifts as the tension hits a peak. We are moving on from the X-drama to something much bigger. Hana is walking away, probably feeling pretty good about herself. She has a lead and she just saved a guy from a legal headache. Her phone rings and she picks up. It is time for her to go back to work. It is her boss calling. He calls her Supreme Authority Kim. It sounds like she's a pretty big deal at the station. She tells him to stop with the nicknames. He lets her know there is a new assignment waiting for her since the deputy director is away. Duty calls. The assignment is an interview with the top player, Gracia. This is the big time. Hana is shocked. Gracia is a global hero who saved America. She wonders why they would give such a high-profile interview to her. It turns out Gracia herself specifically asked for Hana. The plot thickens. When a superhero wants an interview with you, you do not say no, and she is coming to Korea. The world's top player is heading straight for Hyunmyoung's territory. The grim reality of the battlefields is shown. Bodies are scattered and weapons are abandoned. This is the world Gracia and the other warriors are living in. Back in Pangenia, Isabella is struggling. She is gasping for air, looking like she is on the edge of collapse. She is standing before the massive ruins, surrounded by enemies. The scale of the threat is finally hitting home. A surge of purple energy ripples through the area. Something is about to change, and it is not looking good for the bad guys. Isabella stands her ground, covered in blood and sweat. She is a snake princess for a reason. She does not give up. The Queen's squad is here. They want her to surrender and hand over the slave. It is unlikely she will betray the guy who literally saved her life. She just grips her bloody dagger and calls them fools. She has made her choice, and it is not the queen's side. The squad charges in, screaming to kill the traitor. It is an all-out brawl now. This is where things get really messy. Isabella is ready for the fight, while Hyunmyoung is still under wraps in the back. The tension is through the roof. Suddenly, the gate behind them flares with blinding blue light. The wait is finally over. The entire scene is swallowed by white light. The warp is starting, and it is taking everything with it. The system confirms the warp is live and it is free. Someone yells that there is no time. They need to go now. She is standing right in the center of the energy vortex. It is a spectacular sight, but they are still in serious danger. Hyunmyoung steps forward, praising her for holding the line. He says she held on well. He is back and ready to take over. He has that confident gamer grin again. She asks if he was communicating with the stars. He replies, yes, sounding like a total pro. The enemy squad commander is panicking, screaming for his men to execute them. He realizes the advantage is slipping away. He reaches out, divine light pouring from his hand. He tells her that she kept her promise, so he must keep his. He is a man of his word. The power of the star successor is unleashed. Golden light explodes across the canyon, looking like a literal god is descending. The enemies are getting vaporized by the sheer power. He says this is the moment of liberation, and that they should rejoice. It is a cold line to say while wiping out an army. Isabella is witnessing true divinity. She thinks this is the power of the Star Bearer. She realizes she has partnered with a literal game breaker. He gives her one last chance to back out. He is respectful enough to let her choose her own path. She does not even hesitate. She says no. She is all in on this journey with him. She gives him a small, rare smile. She has found someone worth following, and she knows it. She promises that she will stay with him. The system confirms the curse on her has been nullified. She is finally free. The warp is finalized. They are heading to Arcana on the central continent. A whole new chapter is about to begin. Everything turns into a blinding void as the warp takes full effect. They are leaving the desert behind for good. They arrive at Arcana, the Golden City. It looks massive and incredibly wealthy compared to the ruins they are used to. The scale of this place is mind-blowing. Towers and walls stretch as far as the eye can see. This is the heart of civilization in Pangania. The game gives them a warning tip. Arcana is all about the money. If you are poor, you are better off staying outside the gates. The streets are packed with people and vendors. You can practically hear the noise and smell the food in this bustling district. It is a proper medieval fantasy city, full of life and commerce. This is going to be a complete culture shock for a couple of desert dwellers. Hyunmyoung is marveling at the extravagance. He knows money is power here. His first goal is to get that bag. Isabella is confident, pulling out a bag of 300 gold coins. She thinks she is rich. She is in for a rude awakening. He just looks at the bag with a deadpan expression. He says, oh, he knows that is pocket change in a city like this. He drops the reality bomb. That gold will last them one night if they are lucky. Isabella looks like her world just got rocked. She argues that 300 gold is a fortune in the desert. He just smirks. The economics of a bustling metropolis are on a whole different level. He points to a bread shop. A loaf costs 50 gold. She is finally realizing they are broke in this new city. She asks what they should do now. He tells her not to worry because there is money lying around everywhere. She looks at him like he has lost his mind. He points to a giant glowing casino sign. It is the classic high-risk, high-reward method. This dude really is a pro player. Isabella is just stunned silent. She's probably never even seen a neon sign, let alone a casino. The casino is a massive, flashy building. It is the ultimate trap for players, but Hyunmyoung is not your average player. He walks in with zero fear. He tells her not to worry. He has a plan, and it probably involves breaking the house rules. He flashes a devious smile. He says he is rather lucky. When a guy with 13 hidden traits says he is lucky, you know the casino is about to go bankrupt. A notification appears that the Blessing of Gold is activated. This dude is literally cheating the RNG. The casino floor is about to become his personal gold mine. In the world of Pangania, every lower city operates as its own independent monarchy. But in Arcana, the City of Pleasures, there is only one rule that truly matters. Money. It is the ultimate law here, deciding who lives like a king and who rots in the gutters. In this city, gold does not just talk, it rules. The narration sets the stage for the most important location in the district. This is the place where every single coin in the city eventually ends up. The Hudson Casino. It is flashy, it is expensive, and it is the literal heart of Arcana's greed, drawing in gamblers from all over. A sharp-dressed staff member steps up to address a visitor. You can tell just by his suit that this place is strictly for high rollers. Isabella leans in and whispers the bad news. After buying clothes and washing up, they have only 100 gold left. They are broke at the worst possible time. The staff member immediately turns up the heat, calling them damn beggars and telling them to move aside. He is looking down on them just because they do not look rich. Randolph does not even flinch at the insult. He calmly reaches into his pocket, saying he will leave this as collateral instead of a cash deposit. He reveals a massive, glowing blue gem in the palm of his hand. It radiates a spiritual energy that immediately makes the guard's jaw drop. The system window identifies it as the Fairy Queen's Tear, a raid tier immortal item. It is so powerful it allows equipment to break past its limit restrictions, and it is basically indestructible. The staff member is shaking, staring at the gem in disbelief. He's realized he just insulted a guy who is carrying a fortune in his pocket. Suddenly, the service does a complete 180. The staff are practically bowing as they lead Randolph and Isabella inside, treating them like the ultimate VIPs. Isabella catches up and asks what he just gave them. She knows that gem was a big deal, but she has no idea just how rare it really is. Randolph casually explains it is the Fairy Queen's Tear, a reward he got from the sanctuary. He mentions it is worth at least 1 million gold, and Isabella looks like she's about to have a heart attack. Randolph says it is no problem with a smirk. He is perfectly fine leaving a 1 million gold item as a deposit because he is planning to win enough to buy it back in no time. The scene shifts to the main floor, where the roulette wheel is spinning at high speed. The gamble has officially begun, and the stakes could not be higher. The white ball bounces around the slots as everyone holds their breath. This is the moment where fortunes are made or destroyed in a single second. The ball finally clicks into place on the wheel. You can practically hear the collective gasp of the crowd as the result is revealed. The crowd goes absolutely wild. People are screaming that he did it again and wondering if this guy is the god of gambling. Randolph is on a legendary winning streak. Chips are raining down as he surpasses 1.4 million gold in winnings. He's standing there like a boss while the entire casino floor stares in awe. Randolph thinks to himself that this is as expected of the blessing of gold. He is basically using a cheat code for reality. When money is on the line, there is no better trait to have. Isabella is jumping for joy, shouting that they are rich now. Randolph has to remind her that it is technically his money, but he is definitely the man of the hour. Suddenly, a suited manager bows low and delivers some unexpected news. Randolph is getting his winnings, but he is also officially banned from the Hudson Casino. The issue is that every other customer has started copying Randolph's bets, sweeping the house clean. He is too good for business, and the casino is cutting their losses before he bankrupts them. The manager stands firm, surrounded by guards, politely telling them it is time to go. It is the classic, "please leave before we make you leave" vibe. Randolph lounges back in his chair, looking totally unbothered by being kicked out. The manager repeats for them to please leave the premises, but Randolph is not done yet. Isabella's eyes glow with a murderous red aura. She is definitely not a fan of being told what to do, and things are getting tense. Randolph says he will leave and puts a hand on Isabella's arm to calm her down. But he has one condition. He needs to speak with the owner of the place first. The manager gets a cold look, stating that will not be possible. He is trying to usher them out quietly, but Randolph is about to drop a truth bomb. Randolph gives him a sharp, knowing grin. He says not to misunderstand, it is not him who wants a meeting, implying the owner will definitely want to see him. Cut to the owner, a man named Hudson sitting in his dim office. He is staring at the Fairy Queen's Tear sitting on a pillow in front of him, looking completely stunned. Hudson activates his Hand of Observation skill, which is already at level 8. He is an experienced player and knows exactly how to spot a treasure. The system confirms the analysis. Hudson's eyes widen as he realizes the gem is 100% authentic. He is sweating, wondering who could possibly possess such a rare item. The tier is normally only carried by Fairy Queen's Knights, and those guys are insanely powerful. Killing one requires at least 3 level 10 players, making this item almost impossible to get. Hudson thinks about how such an item would walk into their casino, gulping in nervousness. He has realized the guy outside is a total wildcard. The manager knocks on the door, calling out to Sir Hudson. He reports that the man who left the talisman as collateral is requesting a meeting. Hudson snaps his head toward the door, his mustache twitching in surprise. The manager adds that he claims Hudson would want to meet him, and Hudson knows he is right. A wicked grin spreads across Hudson's face. He is intrigued by this mysterious visitor and is already planning his next move. The meeting is on. Hudson, Randolph, and Isabella are seated in a luxury lounge, the tension in the room thick enough to cut with a dagger. Randolph leans back in his chair, looking unfazed as he reveals his knowledge. He explains that the Fairy Queen's Tear is essential for entry into the city council, revealing he knows the item's true purpose. Hudson is silent, his expression unreadable as he processes the information. He is shocked that this newcomer knows such a deep secret about the city's politics. A system window and a flashback details the Fairy Queen's Tear's true function. It is an item for the City Council's entrance exam with a massive 120-day cooldown, making it incredibly valuable and time-sensitive. Hudson slams his hands down, his face full of rage. He reveals he is also a player and a City Council member, accusing Randolph of trying to steal his property and warning him not to mistake him for a simple NPC. An extreme close-up of Hudson's eye shows his fury. He is enraged that his plans and identity have been exposed so easily. In contrast, a close-up of Randolph's eye shows him looking calm. He observes Hudson's outburst with a cool, calculating gaze, completely in control. Randolph interrupts, completely confused. He asks what he is talking about, saying Wilhelm led the expedition. The history Hudson knows is completely different from his own memories. Hudson explains that Wilhelm was the most famous, but the expedition was actually a group effort by all 8. Randolph realizes there was infighting that led to the failure, at least according to the official stories. Hudson asks if he even knows who the 8 heroes are, a bit surprised by Randolph's ignorance. He calls them all extremely legendary figures. The scene shifts to Gracia, the blonde superstar player. He is sitting comfortably, watching a broadcast on his phone. He is the peak of what a player can achieve in reality. The news headline is all about the man who rode a monster. That is our boy Randolph, and he's officially the biggest mystery on the planet right now. An assistant informs Gracia that the interview with the Korean reporter, Kim Hana, has been scheduled. Gracia is personally taking an interest in the people connected to the monster rider. The assistant mentions the government wants Gracia to stay in the US for safety, but Gracia is not listening. He has his eyes on the prize. Gracia says no, he must see for himself, looking at the grainy footage of Randolph. He has a feeling that this man is the key to everything. A side-by-side comparison of Gracia and Randolph is shown. The world's current #1 and the mysterious newcomer are on a collision course. Gracia looks intensely at the screen, thinking Randolph might be the friend he had been searching for. There seems to be a hidden connection between these two. A final close-up of Randolph's face is shown. He is a star successor now, and the entire world, both real and game, is starting to take notice. The real story is just getting started. Hyunmyoung is completely shocked by what Hudson just said. He questions the existence of the 8 heroes, as he remembers Wilhelm leading the expedition. Everything he knows from his 5-year grind is being challenged. Hudson gives him a confused look, not understanding his shock. He explains that while Wilhelm is the most famous, the expedition was conducted by all 8 heroes together. The scene flashes back to a dark vision of the heroes in a red-tinted void. Hudson claims there was infighting that led to the expedition's failure, but Hyunmyoung knows that is complete nonsense because he was there. The scene shifts back to the bright, modern skyline of the city. We are out of the fantasy drama and back to the real-world chaos of a city on edge. Hyunmyoung is sitting in a high-end restaurant, staring down at a fancy steak. He looks drained, and after that lore drop from Hudson, it is understandable. The reporter, Kim Hana, sits across from him looking concerned. She asks if the meat does not suit his taste, but Hyunmyoung blames it on being tired from the previous day's events. A quick flashback shows Hyunmyoung stuck in the game world with Hudson and Isabella. He stayed up all night getting information about the 8 heroes, which explains why he is about 10 minutes late for lunch. He looks a bit sheepish, leaning back in his chair. He admits that he does not know if it is okay for him to eat for free like this. Hana dismisses his guilt. She reminds him that he saved her from a stalker and that a meal is not nearly enough. She is definitely a fan of our hero. Suddenly, Hyunmyoung snaps his head around, sensing something is off. Hana asks what is wrong, noticing the immediate shift in his mood. At the table right behind them is the blue-haired jerk, Jung Jinwoo, sitting with Seoyeon. It is an awkward coincidence. Jinwoo looks over his shoulder with a cold glare. He mutters what a coincidence it is, and the room temperature seems to drop. Hyunmyoung's mind flashes back to his confrontation with Seoyeon. He remembers telling her that if she was going to flirt with other guys, she should have at least deleted her social media photos. It was cold, but fair. Seoyeon's face is a mask of pure fury in the flashback. Back in the present, Hana whispers to Hyunmyoung, asking if they should just move to a different table to avoid the drama. They sit there for a second in total silence, the tension building between the two tables. Hana is practically vibrating with secondhand embarrassment. Hyunmyoung just keeps eating, totally unbothered. He says it is fine and that she does not have to worry about her, as they really do not have any kind of relationship at all. It is absolutely savage. He goes for another bite of steak, but the piece does not last long. A voice calls his name from right behind him. Jinwoo is standing right over Hyunmyoung now, looking down on him. He accuses him of following Seoyeon all the way here, continuing the stalker narrative. Jinwoo leans in close, his face twisted in a smug sneer. He says that not only did he keep pestering her after they broke up, but now he is even stalking her, calling him a shameless bastard. The camera pans out to show the whole restaurant scene. Jinwoo is making a huge spectacle, accusing Hyunmyoung of clinging and begging Seoyeon to take him back. Seoyeon is sitting there, looking like she is acting the part of the victim perfectly. Hyunmyoung is just standing there, probably wondering how much more of this he has to listen to before he can finish his steak. A tight close-up on Hyunmyoung's eye shows he has finally connected the dots. He thinks that he gets it now. He realizes Seoyeon has been feeding Jinwoo a total lie to save face. Seoyeon has a main character look on her face, leaning back with her arms crossed. She is enjoying watching Hyunmyoung get grilled. Jinwoo gets right in Hunmung's face with a red aura of rage. He threatens to kill him if he follows Seoyeon one more time, calling him a worthless piece of trash. Hana finally snaps. She stands up and yells at Jinwoo for being ridiculous and making up lies. She is not letting her savior get bullied like this. She explains that she was the one who made the reservation and is treating him to lunch. Jinwoo is just standing there, looking confused that another woman is defending his target. Jinwoo pulls out a wad of cash and starts peeling off bills. He tells Hana that he will pay her double, so she should learn when to butt in and when not to. He is a total scumbag. A close-up on the flying money is shown. Jinwoo asks if the filthy trash can move somewhere else. He really thinks he can buy his way out of being a jerk. He literally throws the money in Hana's face. Cash is fluttering everywhere as he mocks them. This dude just crossed a major line. Jinwoo looks all tough, telling Hun Ma-young that he hit him first. He is trying to play the self-defense card after initiating everything. Hana tells Hyun Myung to grit his teeth, clearly expecting a brawl. She is ready to back him up, but little does she know, he does not need much help. Suddenly, Hyun Myung moves. A close-up of his eye shows his star successor focus kicking in. The speed lines show he is moving way faster than a normal human. Hyun Myung lunges forward and grabs Jinwoo by the collar. The sudden move leaves Jinwoo looking completely stunned with a big question mark over his head. Hyun Myung tells him that is enough and that he does not exactly look innocent either, staring directly into Jinwoo's soul. He has finally had enough of the worthless trash talk. Jinwoo is losing it. He screams at the little bastard, his face contorted in anger. He is not used to people actually fighting back. A close-up of Jinwoo's eye reflects his shock and burgeoning rage. He's about to realize he has picked a fight with the wrong gamer. A massive impact frame shows the moment things get physical. Hyun Myung is not just defending, he is completely shutting Jinwoo down. Hyun Myung effortlessly catches Jinwoo's fist in midair. The look on Jinwoo's face is priceless. It is the moment he realizes his opponent is way stronger than he looks. He slams Jinwoo down onto the table with a heavy sound. He repeats for him to stop it, his voice like ice. Jinwoo is struggling under Hyunmung's hand, gasping and wondering what is happening and why this guy is so strong. He is realizing the grip strength he is feeling is not even human. Seoyeon is horrified, shouting at Jinwoo and telling him to get up now. She is blushing from embarrassment because her strong boyfriend is getting handled. Hyunmung has Jinwoo pinned to the table. He suggests that they go outside and finish talking. He is being polite, which just makes him more terrifying. Jinwoo is seething. He thinks that a worthless piece of trash is embarrassing him in front of Seoyeon. His ego is taking a bigger beating than his body. Suddenly, golden light starts to emanate from Jinwoo's hand. He's activating a skill. He bellows that he messed with the wrong person. A massive burst of blue and white light erupts from the table, sending everyone reeling. Jinwoo is finally showing his hand as a player. The restaurant is filled with a blinding flare. Hyun Myung exclaims, "Light?" as he shields his eyes and the transformation begins. A pillar of light shoots up, and we see Jinwoo in full warrior gear. The customers are freaking out, realizing that the mentioned warrior is having a meltdown in the dining room. The other diners yell, wondering what that is and if it is real. They are all pulling out their phones to record the latest viral superhero fight. Jinwoo is now fully decked out in his game armor, looking like a high-level spearman. He growls for him to try running his mouth again, looking way too cocky. He strikes a pose with his glowing spear, the armor humming with energy. He really thinks he is the main character of the story. Jinwoo lands a heavy hit, sending Hun Ma-young sliding across the floor. Anna cries out his name as the Dimension Warrior flexes his power. Hyun Ma-young is lying on his back, looking up. He muses that he cannot believe he was a player, but instead of being scared, he has this tiny, knowing smirk. A notification appears that the hidden trait, Great Sage, is activated. It is time for the counter build. The system analyzes the opponent, Jungjae Ian-woo LV, 4, CLASS Peerman. The protagonist notes that he even got a class, which is pretty rare for someone like him. The narration starts explaining Pangagenia's level system. It seems there is more to those numbers than just strength. Levels 1 through 10 have massive gaps in the experience required to rank up. It is a steep climb for any player. There is a catch. Additional experience is required depending on how many talents you have. Since Hyun Myung has 13 hidden traits, he will be stronger but will level up way slower than others. A comparison between Jinwoo level 4 and Hun Myung level 3 is shown. Jinwoo belongs to the group with fewer talents, which is why his level is artificially higher. The reason Jinwoo's level is so low despite being a player is simple. He has never fought even once. This tough guy is just a total fraud who has never actually grinded. It is revealed that Jung Jinwoo is a beginner gamer who has been running away non-stop since the first day he synchronized with Pangagenia. He is a professional coward. He is finally fighting now. He has finally found someone he thinks is weak enough to bully with his legendary status. He obtained his spearman class through a few strokes of pure luck during a main quest. He is the literal definition of failing upward. Because he placed in the top ranks, likely by luck or hiding, he was rewarded with the ability to log out. He basically cheated his way to safety. He never returned to Pangagenia again. He's been living off his hero status in the real world without actually putting in any of the work. Kyunyoung looks at him with pure pity. He knows that not everyone would have survived a start like his with the heart of the iron-blooded monarch. Jinwoo thinks he is one, telling Seoyeon it is enough and they should go because people are staring. She agrees, saying her mood is ruined and they should go, looking down her nose at her ex. He tells her it is not a big deal and they should just finish eating, but then his eye catches something. He senses a disturbance in the force. Suddenly, the entire city starts to rattle. The text screams about an earthquake. The ground is shaking with a terrifying intensity. Hyun Mayung's eyes sharpen. He says he knows this feeling and it is not possible. He knows exactly what this means. The destruction progress must have hit that 10% threshold. One poor guy is running for his life as a massive segment of the worm looms over him. It is a total disaster movie unfolding in the middle of a lunch date. Hyunmyoung notices something strange. He wonders why they are not attacking people. He is watching the monster's behavior closely, looking for a pattern. He explains that these worms are scavengers that just eat corpses. He warns Hana that if they do not attack first, that usually does not appear. Jinwoo ignores the warning and lunges forward, his spear glowing with power. He thinks he's about to save everyone and look cool doing it. Jinwoo actually lands a direct hit on one of the wormheads. He is surprised himself and wonders if he got it in one hit. A close-up of his armored gauntlet is shown. He is feeling like a god right now, completely unaware of the disaster he just triggered. People shout that he is as expected of a Dimension Warrior. Jinwoo tells everyone to run that way while he handles the threat. He is totally playing into the hero role. He laughs, mocking the monsters for not being that big of a deal. He is literally the poster boy for famous last words. Kyunmyoung grabs Hana and tells her to get as far away as possible. He is not even looking at her. He is staring at the red mist starting to fill the room. Hyunmyoung warns her to get far from where that idiot is. He knows the scavenger phase is over and the real hunt is about to begin. Suddenly, a thick red fog swallows the entire restaurant. The text screams about fog and not being able to see in front of them as the visibility drops to zero. Jinwoo is panicking, spinning around in the mist. He wonders where the fog came from all of a sudden and complains that his vision is blocked and he cannot see anything. A terrifying black-clawed hand reaches out from the shadows. The predator has finally arrived, and it is looking for the person who poked the nest. Jinwoo gets struck from behind, letting out a confused sound as blood splatters across the red mist. He is out of his league, and he knows it. A single, massive, glowing eye opens in the darkness. A voice booms, vibrating through the building. A terrifying silhouette looms over Jinwoo. It asks who killed its children. The worm mother is here, and she is absolutely massive. The system confirms the nightmare. An elite monster, Sheed Mamba, has appeared. The final warning pops up. Recommended raid party size for level 6 is 20 people. Jinwoo is a solo level 4. He is officially cooked. Good luck with that hero stuff. Jinwoo is losing his mind in the thick red mist. He gasps, realizing he is completely blind and trapped with a monster. A single, terrifying eye opens in the darkness, glowing with pure malice. A deep, gravelly voice booms out, asking, "Who?" It is a terrifying question. The silhouette of the boss, Cheed Mamba, looms over a terrified Jinwoo like a nightmare come to life. It asks who killed its children, and Jinwoo realizes he has poked the wrong nest. A blue system window confirms the worst. An elite monster, Cheed Mamba, has appeared. This is not a low-level mob, this is the real deal. The notification hangs there ominously as the monster's presence fills the room. It is the kind of reveal that makes you want to hit the Alt plus F4 button immediately. The system adds a little salt to the wound, recommending a raid party size of 20 people at level 6. Jinwoo is solo and only level 4, a big mistake. A dark, clawed hand reaches out while a sinister mouth grins in the background. It just repeats, "Kill," like a broken record of death. Cheed Mamba roars to kill all of them as the red mist swirls violently around its massive frame. It is officially hunt or be hunted time. Jinwoo is literally choking on the pressure, letting out strangled sounds. He's trying to process how a scavenger hunt turned into a survival horror game so fast. He panics, complaining that the fog is blocking his vision, completely unaware that a red-eyed predator is breathing down his neck. It is a classic horror movie trope. He grips his glowing blue spear, trembling as he looks around. He mutters, sensing the cold chill of certain death closing in. Suddenly, a flash of dark energy cuts through the air. The first strike is fast, brutal, and definitely aimed to kill. A close-up of that glowing red eye shows the boss is locked onto its target. It whispers, "Die," and it is not a suggestion. The system notifies him that he's being poisoned by the cheatworm's blood, which triggers a hallucination debuff. It is not just a physical fight anymore, it is a mental one. Jinwoo stares up in pure terror as a blue energy barrier starts to form. He screams, asking what is happening, but nobody is coming to save him. A massive impact sends blood spraying across the screen. Jinwoo just took a direct hit from an elite monster, and it looks like it hurt. The scene is pure chaos as people scramble for their lives in the background. Someone lets out a sharp sound as they realize they are in the splash zone of a boss fight. Mamba's red eyes loom over a literal pool of blood while Jinwoo is left screaming on the ground. This dude is officially out of his league. The monster monologues, saying it did not want to step in but someone crossed the line by killing its young. Jinwoo is just a background noise of screams at this point. Suddenly, a real hero enters the chat. Chunmayung, as Randolph, appears in his game gear, sword ready, and simply tells the monster to come out. A terrifying, multi-toothed mouth snaps in the dark purple void. The monster is not intimidated but is definitely interested in its new opponent. Another close-up of those gnashing teeth is shown. This is not a boss you want to get close to, but Randolph does not seem to care. The purple mist swirls around the silent warrior. Mamba just lets out a creepy sound as it sizes up its dinner. Randolph stands perfectly still in the darkness, looking completely unfazed. The monster keeps laughing. It thinks it has found a new toy to break. Mamba is practically howling with laughter now, thinking Randolph is not bad. It loves it when the food tries to fight back. The elite monster looks at our boy and literally says he looks delicious. It can keep dreaming. A serious close-up of Randolph's face is shown. He has that "I've seen this boss 1,000 times" look on his face. The epic title card flashes, stating that he is starting with 13 hidden traits. The real main character is finally here to clean up the mess. Meanwhile, Hana is running around like a headless chicken, shouting for Hunmyoung and asking where he is. She is genuinely worried about her favorite regular person. She keeps calling his name, but the thick red fog is swallowing her voice. She has no idea she is standing just a few feet away from a literal death match. Hana peers into the murky red mist, whispering his name one more time. The tension is crazy right now. A massive shockwave of energy explodes through the fog. The fight has officially started, and it is a heavy hitter. Randolph slides back from a strike, thinking he got lucky that the fog blocked everyone's vision so he could transform in secret. He is efficient even in a crisis. He knows that even with his gear, this boss is no joke. He thinks that just because he transformed does not mean it is an opponent he can easily handle. He realizes that his only real edge is his meta-knowledge. He admits that if he did not know its attack patterns, things would be looking very different. He envisions his old Wilhelm character getting bodied, realizing he would have been minced meat a long time ago if he were just a regular player. Mamba is genuinely confused. It can see Randolph's stats are not that high, so it demands to know how he's dodging all of its attacks. Randolph leaps through the air with a sound, while the monster notes that he is moving like he knows its attacks in advance. It is due to 5 years of grinding. A close-up of Randolph's intense stare is shown. He's not just fighting, he is calculating every single frame of this encounter. The boss bellows that it is useless, lashing out with a flurry of attacks. It thinks it can just overwhelm him with pure speed. Randolph is a blur of motion, weaving through a rain of dark energy strikes. He is making a level 6 raid boss look like a tutorial mission. He lands a perfect jump on some rubble, already calling out the monster's next move. He knows the next dodge pattern of the Mamba. He is literally reading the script. He's totally locked in, his eyes tracking every slight movement the monster makes. This is high-level gameplay in person. A blur of speed lines and debris shows just how fast the combat is. This is not a turn-based RPG anymore. The boss screams blood spatter as a wave of dark, toxic energy erupts from its body. It is an area of effect attack that is hard to avoid. Randolph grips his sword hilt tight with a sound. He is preparing for the impact of the next skill. Blood and dark shadows splash against the ground in a violent burst. The boss is really letting loose now. A massive explosion of red fog and dark energy fills the frame. It looks like a direct hit, but with this main character, you never know. Debris flies everywhere as someone lets out a sharp groan. The environment is getting absolutely wrecked by this fight. A tight shot of Randolph's hair is shown as he lets out a ragged huff. He's working hard to keep his perfect dodge streak alive. He roars out, determined to find an opening. He is panting, but the fight in his eyes is only getting stronger. He narrowly dodges a massive tentacle swipe. The monster is stunned, thinking about how he dodged even that. Mamba admits that he has incredible, astonishing evading ability. It is starting to realize it might have a real fight on its hands. The boss tries to cope, shouting that if his attacks cannot reach it, what does any of that matter? It thinks its defense is impenetrable. It gives him a wide, toothy grin that is 100% nightmare fuel. It is trying to psyche him out before the next round. Randolph just catches his breath with a few heavy huffs and tells the monster not to worry. He has one more trick up his sleeve. He pulls out the Fairy Queen's tear talisman, glowing bright blue in his hand. He promises that he will be driving it through the middle of its forehead soon. It is a cold promise. A system message warns him that he is equipping Hermes' shoes and his stats are below the equipment requirement. He is trying to force equip gear. The tier activates, greatly reducing the stat requirements. He's basically using a legendary catalyst to bypass the level cap. He suits up with Miquella's armor and Miquella's helmet. He is officially going full RPG hero mode on this worm. The set bonuses start popping. Celestial Dragonborn, and the Swiftness's option of Hermes' shoes. This dude just became a speed god. He looks absolutely epic in the full set. Armor glowing red and gold. He gives a quick apology to Hudson. He did not want to use the tier yet, but desperate times call for legendary gear. The system details for Hermes' shoes appear. They make you run as fast as the wind. Now, the monster is the one who will not be able to land a hit. He launches forward with incredible speed. He vows that he will keep his promise no matter what, charging straight for the kill. He is using the swiftness option of Hermes' shoes. He is literally a golden blur now, leaving the boss in the dust. Randolph is a whirlwind of motion, zooming around the monster's slow, lumbering strikes. It is like watching a pro player toy with a mid-game boss. He moves so fast, the monster cannot even see him. He is striking from every angle, making Mamba dizzy. He lands a heavy blow that sends shockwaves through the air. The armor set is doing some serious work. A close-up of his armored boot, slamming into the ground as he prepares to launch again. A sound effect shows the weight behind his move. He is soaring through the air, coming down like a comet. He launches himself right at the monster's weak spot. His eyes glow through the visor as he gets right in the monster's face. This is the end of the line for Mamba. The monster is completely shocked, letting out a big sound as Randolph appears right in front of its eyes. Talk about a jump scare. He lands a rapid-fire combo of slashes with a sound effect. He is carving through the boss's health bar like it is butter. He is literally bouncing off the monster's back, his blade creating streaks of white and blue light. This is absolute peak performance. His sword hits with the force of a wrecking ball. The monster is reeling, unable to keep up with the swiftness of its opponent. More strikes rain down with a sound effect. Randolph is not giving it a single second to recover. This is a flawless speedrun. A wide shot shows the small hero dominating the massive beast. It is a classic David versus Goliath moment, but David has high-tier gear and god-tier speed. The boss roars in pain. It cannot believe a rat is actually doing this much damage. Randolph looks back over his shoulder, his red and gold helmet looking fierce. He's not done yet, not even close. He's activating the Kayla's set option. A new surge of blue energy flows through his sword. He is charging up his final move. He looks like a legendary knight now, bathed in a white and red aura. The energy builds to a fever pitch with a sound. Mamba is losing it, screaming if he still had tricks left and calling him a rat-like bastard. It is finally feeling the fear. Randolph knows he is almost there. He thinks about Mamba's final attack pattern and that if he can endure just this, he will win. He is ready for the boss's last-ditch effort. A tight shot of his eyes focusing through the visor is shown. This is it, the make-or-break moment of the entire raid. The monster slams its foot down, shouting that there is no way he can dodge this. It is letting out everything it has in one giant area attack. A massive vortex of red energy and speed lines fills the air. A loud sound effect means business. The monster bellows for the rat to die as a cyclone of toxic energy swallows the entire room. It looks impossible to survive. The red vortex intensifies, spinning into a localized hurricane of death. It is a total screen wipe attack. Suddenly, a synergy effect with swiftness activates. A gale has been triggered, and it is about to counter the monster's fog. The monster is stunned, wondering if he is using wind to blow away its poisonous fog. He just used the boss's own arena against it. It is a galaxy brain move. The narrator lists the 4 patterns: dodge, blood spatter, needles, and poisonous fog. The boss has officially run out of tricks. The boss falls into confusion after using its final pattern. It is looking dazed and stupid, totally vulnerable. After it uses all patterns, Mamba falls into confusion. This is the damage window Randolph was waiting for. A confused Mamba becomes unable to act. It is just sitting there, waiting to be finished off. But he has to be quick. Once the confusion wears off, the next cycle begins and the monster gets even stronger. There is no time to waste. Randolph charges in for the final strike. He thinks this is his only chance to win. It is a beautiful, high-speed dash toward the finish line. The monster snaps out of it just long enough to scream, "Wait." Wait is not in Randolph's vocabulary right now. He drives the sword right through the monster's head. A fountain of blood erupts as he lands the perfect killing blow. He keeps pushing the blade through, ruthlessly finishing the job. He says that he told it earlier. He sounds like a total badass. He finishes his sentence as blood rains down on his armor, saying he said he would be driving his sword through the middle of its forehead soon. And he is a man of his word. The raid is cleared. He has eliminated the elite monster, Mamba. He soloed a 20-man raid boss like it was a regular tutorial mob. A 100% contribution shows he is a true carry. The fog starts to lift as the system counts down the restoration of the golden scale fragment. Hyunmyung stands in the middle of the carnage, letting the darkness recede. Hana looks around, totally dazed and confused. She asks if it is finally over, barely believing she is still breathing after that nightmare. The mysterious warrior adjusts his hood, keeping his face hidden in the shadows. He has that silent, cool guy energy that says not to follow him. Hana's eyes widen as she makes the connection. She finally recognizes him as the same savior from the first invasion. She shouts, "Excuse me," and chases after him. She is desperate for answers, asking if he remembers her from the last time he saved her life. Hyunmyoung looks back, noticing she is safe, but he cannot risk his identity. He activates the invisibility cloak effect, ready to pull a literal vanishing act. He reaches out into a pillar of blue light, starting his exit strategy. She pleads for him to talk to her for a moment, but he is already halfway to becoming a ghost. She stops in her tracks, staring at the empty air. He disappeared right in front of her eyes, leaving her with more questions than before. She stands alone in the wreckage of the restaurant, the red mist completely gone. The savior is nowhere to be found, and the silence is deafening. From the shadows, a pair of normal sneakers is seen walking across the blood-stained floor. Our hero is back in his civilian skin. He calls out to her as if he has been looking for her the whole time. She spins around, looking relieved and surprised to see a familiar face. She yells his name, nearly lunging at him. To her, he is just the lucky guy who survived the chaos, unaware he is the reason the monster is dead. He gives her a casual, slightly awkward wave. He says he finally found her after they got separated in all that chaos, playing the part of a confused civilian perfectly. Hana rushes up to him, frantic. He asks if she is hurt anywhere, but she is the one checking him over. He reassures her that he is fine with a smile. She stares at him, her eyes tracing every detail. She is not just relieved, she is looking for something. Her reporter instincts are starting to tingle. He says he is relieved she is safe, sounding genuinely concerned. He brushes it off as a bad day, but the way he is acting is a bit too calm for a survivor. She asks again if Hyunmyoung is hurt, her voice low. She is not letting this go until she is sure. He looks down at his hand, confused. She is pointing directly at his fingertips, where a dark red stain is visible. He realizes he has monster blood under his nails. He thinks that he did not even notice and tries to explain that some monster blood must have splashed on him, telling her not to worry. It is a smooth lie, but Hana is not buying it. She notes that his clothes are perfectly clean, but his nails are splattered with blood. She says it is unusual, her suspicion meter hitting the red zone. She points out that when the monsters first appeared, he was incredibly calm too. She asks if he could have known what that was. It is the million-dollar question. He just stares back, giving her a silent look. The tension in this panel is enough to start a fire. One wrong word and the secret is out. He tries to laugh it off, claiming he just said whatever was on his mind because things were so hectic. Hana thinks he is a liar and was totally composed. She knows a liar when she sees one. She is internally screaming that he is suspicious. He is acting like it was nothing and showed up right after the savior vanished. She looks at him from the side, analyzing every bit of his behavior. She notes that he is acting like it is nothing and showed up right after the man who saved her disappeared. The question is burning in her mind about who he could be. She has nearly connected the dots, and it is understandable. The next day, the sun is shining, but the world has changed forever. The peaceful blue sky is just a mask for the chaos below. Another dimension war happened not many days after the first. A building with metal shutters and a temporary closed sign is shown. People are scared. The attacks are becoming more frequent. The world is realizing that the first time was not just a fluke, it was the start of a trend. Dimension Warrior members are warning the government that these attacks will continue. Cooperation with the government is now a necessity, not an option. The streets are empty, like a scene from a post-apocalyptic movie. Citizens are staying indoors, gripped by anxiety about when the next portal will open. A news anchor reports on the government's artificial downplaying of the damage. This might have led to even more victims in the second incident. A high-level government meeting is shown. Officials in suits are looking at data, trying to figure out how to handle a threat they do not understand. A bald official complains that people are making a huge fuss now, even though they were carefree during the first invasion. He mutters about how serious it is. He is out of touch. He argues that back then, people who were not directly affected probably could not really feel it. A monster attack is just totally out of common sense to guys like him. Nobody knew how to respond because this was beyond common sense. The government tried to maintain a normal state at first, but that plan clearly failed. A close-up of the mouth is shown as an official admits the reality. Everyone must have realized by now that an invasion can happen again and again. It is a permanent feature now. A new group enters the fray, Player Alliance Hero. The leader is Park Tae-woo, and he looks like he means business. He says this is the perfect timing for them to declare their alliance. The team is scrolling through their phones, racing against other alliances to recruit talent. They are checking the CCTV footage Hana mentioned earlier. The footage shows a hand gripping a blood-stained, glowing sword. They wonder if he really killed the Cheed Mamba alone, sensing a legendary player in their midst. The Alliance members are baffled. Randolph just cleared Quest 2, so he should only be level 4 or 5. They wonder how he equipped a high-tier item like Hermes' shoes. They suspect he used some kind of rare talisman. A high-ranking member says the details aside, it is certain he is someone they need. They have officially put a target on his back. They note that Randolph appeared right after Phantom disappeared. They speculate that it is possible Randolph is Phantom. The world is starting to catch on to his legend. A voice bubble says they cannot trust the other player alliances. It is a gold rush for elite players, and nobody wants to play fair. Taiwu stares intensely forward. He commands that no matter what happens, they have to bring him over. He is fully prepared to do whatever it takes to recruit Randolph. They need him for a specific reason, to stop the coming rift. The world is getting a lot more dangerous, and they need all the heavy hitters they can get. The scene shifts back to Pangagenia. Hudson looks absolutely horrified, his eyes bulging as he stares at Randolph. He repeats the words, "Dio, stop the coming rift." Randolph is standing there with his arms crossed, looking cool and collected. Hudson stammers, unable to finish his thought. Hudson screams, asking if he is saying that he used the Fairy Queen's tear. To him, using a 1 million gold item just to kill a boss is the ultimate crime against gambling. Hudson is having a literal meltdown in his luxury office, his hands on the table as he yells at our main character. Randolph just sits there, bored out of his mind. Randolph replies simply with, "Yes." Hudson is losing it, shouting about why he would do that when Randolph was supposed to give it to him. Randolph gives him a smug look. He clarifies that he said he would help him, not that he would give him the Fairy Queen's tear. It is the ultimate troll move. He adds with a cruel smile that he just got rid of it so Hudson would not cling to pointless hope. He claims there is no way he would admit he used it to beat the boss. It is peak main character energy. Hudson is fuming, his face full of distrust. He grinds out, asking if he is saying there is another way. He is starting to realize he is being played. Randolph just flashes a wicked grin. He has Hudson right where he wants him. He has another plan, and it will likely involve a lot more risk for Hudson. A pair of boots is shown walking through a dark stone corridor. They are transitioning to a new location for the next big play. They are in a dark, dank tunnel system. A system window identifies the area as the Arcana, the City of Gold, underground dungeon sewers. It is a classic sewer level. Hudson asks if the place he is taking him to is the sewers, disgusted. He wonders why they would come to a place like this. He is definitely not a fan of the smell. Randolph explains he wants to wash away Hudson's distrust. He says he wanted to create a waypoint in Arcana, always thinking about the long-term grind. He pulls out a glowing teleport book. Epic. It is a magic book that lets you warp to previously explored locations, a total time saver for a pro player. The item details pop up, casting time of 30 seconds, usable once a day. It is currently registered to the Desert Sanctuary. He is building his personal fast travel network. Isabella is following close behind, looking cautious. She asks if they are really going to explore the sewers dungeon with just the three of them. She thinks it is suicide. Hudson warns that the boss monster that lives here is a monster rat, his face pale. He knows this place has a brutal reputation for underleveled parties. A close-up shows Hudson screaming in fear. He says it is a dungeon raid boss that needs at least 6 people of level 8 to even attempt it. Randolph is solo in a raid again. Randolph just keeps walking into the darkness. He is not even listening to the warnings anymore. He calmly says that he knows. He has heard it all before and is ready to prove everyone wrong again. Suddenly, a set of glowing red eyes appears in the dark. Isabella and the others freeze, sensing a massive predatory presence. A giant, armored rat monster with green crystals on its back lunges forward. The recommended raid party size is 6 people at level 8. Things just got real. A close-up of the rat's glowing red eye is shown. It looks hungry, and a bunch of level 3 players are the only thing on the menu. The rat screeches, its sharp fangs bared with a sound. It is fast and clearly not happy about the intruders in its sewer home. The rat's massive, tree-trunk-sized foot slams into the ground with a sound. The impact is so strong it cracks the stone floor beneath them. A massive explosion of green energy erupts from the impact point with a sound. The monster is not just fast, it is packing some serious magical punch. The heroes are caught in a web of green energy beams. Someone yells as they desperately scramble to avoid getting vaporized. He commands her to the 10 o'clock direction. He is directing Isabella with the precision of a top-tier raid leader. Isabella looks surprised, but ready to act. The rat lets out a high-pitched squeak as it realizes it is being targeted. It is a creepy close-up that shows just how monstrous this thing is. Randolph is woven between a grid of glowing energy lines. He thinks that if you know its pattern, it does not matter how fast it is. He is literally reading the boss like a book. He stands amidst the green laser paths, looking absolutely untouchable. He is playing the game on a level the others cannot even comprehend. He notes that this is only possible because Isabella is a combat-specialized character raised to a level far beyond ordinary ones. He is proud of the monster he created. Randolph calls out to Hudson, his silhouette looking imposing against the dungeon walls. Hudson jumps, snapping out of his trance with a sound. Randolph gives him a firm, determined look. He says he will keep his promise to him, no matter what. He's building that trust, brick by brick. He adds for him not to doubt it. Hudson is visibly trembling, realizing he is partnered with someone who might actually be able to do the impossible. A close-up of a speech bubble is shown. "If I say it can be done," Randolph says. "Then it will be done," with an ultimate main character smirk on his face. He is calling his shot, and you just know he is going to hit it. The final panel shows a close-up of a stunned Hudson looking up at a confident Randolph. He repeats that it will be done, and the hype is officially through the roof. Sanjong is checking the CCTV footage but finds nothing. Even the people inside the building saw nothing, which is a nightmare for his investigation. Scratching his head, the Hero Alliance leader admits this is starting to feel like a ghost story. He is stumped and wonders if they should visit Jung Jinwoo again. The man with him thinks that is a bad idea, saying Jung Jinwoo has already lost his mind. It sounds like the guy is a total wreck and will not give them any useful info. The shock of having both his arms chopped off was apparently too much for Jinwoo to handle. He is completely snapped, and going back to see him would just be a waste of time. We see Jung Jinwoo lying in a hospital room, looking absolutely traumatized. His bandaged nubs are a grim reminder of the beatdown he took. His eyes are wide with terror as he stares into nothingness. Whatever happened back there clearly broke something inside of him permanently. The focus shifts to Kim Hana as the suits discuss if she knows something or has some secret backing. They are even considering storming the broadcasting station for answers. They have heard rumors that someone very powerful is currently protecting her. Specifically, a big name is conducting a one-on-one interview with her right now. The news station is swarming with reporters and flashing cameras. Everyone is trying to get a glimpse of the special guest who just arrived. Stepping out of the crowd, a flashy guy with blonde hair makes a grand entrance. This dude definitely knows how to command a room. The camera flashes are blinding as he makes his way through. It is clear that this guy is a top-tier celebrity in the player world. He introduces himself with total confidence as Gracia. You can tell by his look that he thinks he is the main character of this world. Kim Hana looks pretty tense as she prepares for the interview. Facing off against someone like Gracia is not a walk in the park for a reporter. She formally greets him, trying to keep her professional cool despite the pressure. It is an honor to meet him, but you can see the determination in her eyes. Outside, people are whispering about whether Gracia fell for her at first sight. These guys love a good rumor, but they are warned not to poke the beehive when it comes to Gracia. The Alliance members are genuinely curious why a monster-tier player like him would fly all the way to Korea just for an ordinary reporter. If Gracia is involved, the smartest move is to just back off and stay far away. A silhouette of Gracia is shown, surrounded by floating swords. This dude is obviously on a completely different power level compared to everyone else. The scene shifts to a battle aftermath where a player is slumped over, breathing heavily. It looks like a one-sided slaughter just went down. A menacing figure looms over the defeated player, demanding to know what he thinks he is doing. Player killing is supposed to be forbidden in the real world, but this guy clearly does not care about the rules. The defeated guy is terrified, stammering about Gracia's laws. He thinks the big name will protect him, but he is about to find out how wrong he is. The attacker grabs the guy by the throat, telling him that it is fine. He mocks him, telling the poor dude to ask Gracia to save him right now. With a brutal slash, the mystery man finishes the job. This guy is a straight-up killer who moves like a shadow. Blood splatters across the ground as the attacker walks away. He leaves a trail of bodies behind without even breaking a sweat. The system notifies us that the rankings have been updated. A player known as Player Massacre has just reached the top ranks and earned rights to the secret auction house. The blue screen confirms the massive achievement. This new high ranker is definitely going to be a problem for our protagonist later on. A man with long dark hair and a cold stare is putting the pieces together. He's convinced that Randolph is actually the infamous Phantom. He figures that if he waits at that place, he will run into Phantom soon enough. This guy looks like he is looking for a fight he might regret. His face is filled with intense bloodlust as he makes his declaration. He says that he will die, and he definitely looks like he means it. The scene shifts to a wide landscape as heavy footsteps echo through the valley. Something massive is on the move. Huge, clawed feet stomp into the dirt, crushing the earth beneath them. Whatever this thing is, it is clearly a high-level boss. A giant, multi-headed dragon beast lets out a deafening roar. This thing looks like it crawled straight out of a nightmare to ruin someone's day. The silhouette of two men talking calmly is shown while the monster looms in the background. They have nerves of steel. Randolph reflects on his goal, which was originally just to register a waypoint in the sewer dungeon. He is looking at his sword, probably glad he survived the encounter. He stands over the massive carcass of the monster rat boss they just took down. It was a tough fight, but the rewards are definitely worth it. Randolph holds up a glowing crystal, looking satisfied with the loot. He managed to snag something rare that was not even part of the plan. It turns out he found a mutant monster rat core, a material used to evolve beast-type souls. This is a massive power-up that will help him strengthen his summons. He thinks about evolving the High Dragon and smiles. With this material, his strength is going to arrive a lot faster than he expected. Randolph turns to Hudson and asks if he took care of everything at the casino. He needs to make sure their base of operations is secure while they are away. Hudson confirms that everything is handled according to instructions. Even though giving up the casino is a shame, he knows they have bigger fish to fry. He admits that nobody would leave the casino alone if he was not there to protect it. It is a risk, but one they have to take for their long-term goals. Hudson looks Randolph in the eye and tells him he has decided to trust and follow the Starbearer. This guy is fully committed to the cause now. Suddenly, Isabella interrupts the moment, sensing something at 10 o'clock. She is like a human radar, always knowing when danger is creeping up. Randolph looks over his shoulder, realizing there is no doubt they are being watched. He knows he cannot miss this chance to make his move. He lets out a small laugh, asking if that is so. He seems almost amused that they are being tracked already. He tells the group he has made a good decision and needs to focus on reaching level 10. Walking the path of the Starbearer is not going to be cheap or easy. Isabella asks where they are headed now, curious about the next step in their journey. She is ready for whatever crazy mission Randolph has planned next. Randolph smiles and mentions a masterpiece that will grant her wish. He is being mysterious as usual, but it sounds like a big deal. He reveals their destination, the Tower of Spirits. This is where the real challenge begins, and you can tell he is hyped for it. The scene shifts to a beautiful forest with glowing particles floating in the air. This place looks magical, but that usually means it is dangerous. The party arrives at the edge of the woods, looking up at the sunlight filtering through the canopy. It is a peaceful contrast to the sewers they just left. Hudson looks around and wonders if this is really the place. To his eyes, it just looks like a totally ordinary forest with nothing special about it. Randolph gives a knowing look, disagreeing with Hudson's assessment. He can see things that normal players completely miss. He corrects him, saying it is definitely not an ordinary forest. He is about to give everyone a major lore dump on why they are actually here. He introduces it as the Basrock Forest, the home of the Spirit Tree. This tree is the entrance to the Tower of Spirits they have been looking for. Spirit trees are where spirits are born, and they have the power to open paths to the spirit realm. This place is basically a bridge between worlds. Randolph explains that entering the path at dusk is the only way to reach the tower. Timing is everything if they want to get inside. He walks up and places his hand on the bark of a massive tree. He seems to be sensing something through the touch. His expression turns grim as he realizes the truth about the tree. He mutters that this tree has already been dead for a long time. A silhouette shows him standing alone against the massive, cracked trunk. It is a lonely and haunting image of a dying landmark. He looks around and realizes it is not just the tree. The entire forest is slowly dying. It has been a long time since a new spirit was born in these woods. Randolph draws his sword, stating that it is not a good method, but they have no choice. He's about to do something that is going to shock everyone. Hudson is confused, asking what he is trying to do. He cannot believe Randolph is about to draw his weapon against the sacred tree. Randolph grips his sword hilt tightly, and it starts to emit a powerful golden glow. He is channeling some serious energy for this strike. With a determined look, he winds up for a massive swing. This is not just a regular chop, he is putting everything into it. The blade connects with the tree in a flash of light. The impact is so powerful it sends shockwaves through the immediate area. Leaves and debris fly everywhere as the giant tree is sliced clean through. An overhead shot shows the massive scale of the destruction Randolph just caused. Hudson and Isabella watch in absolute horror as the tree begins to tip. They cannot believe he actually cut down the entrance to the tower. Hudson is screaming, asking if it is really okay to just cut it down like that. He thinks Randolph just ruined their only way in. He continues to panic, shouting that the tree was their only entrance. He thinks they are stuck outside for good now. Suddenly, a massive arrow whistles through the air, barely missing Randolph. Someone is definitely not happy about the landscaping he just did. Another arrow streaks past with incredible speed. The party is under fire from an unseen enemy in the trees. Randolph reacts instantly, drawing a smaller blade to parry the incoming projectiles. His reflexes are absolutely insane. He catches a glimpse of the shooter and prepares for a counterattack. This is not just a random monster. It is an organized guardian. A massive impact explosion hits the ground right in front of Hudson and Isabella. They are being targeted by a powerful force that is trying to drive them out. Isabella takes a defensive stance, grunting as she blocks another heavy blow. She is strong, but these attacks are on another level. From the shadows, a centaur-like warrior with a bow appears. This guy looks extremely powerful and very, very angry. The system identifies him as the Master of Basrock Forest, High Dryad, a level 9 boss. He looks down at them, calling Isabella a human woman with pure contempt. Isabella and Hudson look up in pure shock, realizing they are facing a High Dryad. This is way more than they bargained for. The Dryad tells them he was going to show mercy and let them pass since they were lost. But now, all bets are off. His face is contorted with rage as he yells at them for daring to cut down the spirit tree. He considers it an unforgivable sin. Dozens of other dryads appear in the surrounding trees, glowing with purple energy. These are forest guardians, and they are all level 7. Isabella counts at least 50 of them closing in. They are completely surrounded by an army of high-level forest protectors. She realizes that if they all rush at once, the party does not stand a ghost of a chance. She decides her priority has to be making sure Randolph escapes. Randolph calmly steps forward, walking right toward the angry dryad leader. This dude really has no sense of self-preservation. The High Dryad looks at him like he is a total madman. He says he is insane, unable to comprehend Randolph's lack of fear. Randolph looks up and simply says to come down, as he wants to talk with him. He's acting like he is just meeting a neighbor for coffee, not a level 9 boss. The Dryad leader screams that he refuses as he pulls back his bowstring, ready to fire. He is done talking and ready to start killing. Randolph does not flinch, asking if they plan to just stand by and watch the forest die. He is calling out their failure as guardians. The Dryad leader freezes, his eyes widening in total shock. Randolph just said something that hit him right where it hurts. Randolph stands his ground, looking completely composed as the guardians loom over him. He knows he has the upper hand in this conversation. He points out that he does not see a single spirit in the forest that could breathe life into it. If no new spirits are born, the entire forest is doomed. The Dryad leader dismisses his words as nonsense, claiming that even if they opened the gate, a mere wretch like him could not enter. He looks down at Randolph with pure arrogance. In his mind, the Tower of Spirits is a place only accessible to the worthy. He tells Randolph that entering the tower is impossible for a human. He is convinced that their journey ends right here in the mud. A vision of the majestic Tower of Spirits appears, reminding us of the goal. It is a place that requires incredible talent and luck to enter. Randolph tells him to shut up and open the gate. Suddenly, his hidden trait, Druid's Nature Affinity, activates, and he starts glowing with an intense green aura that leaves everyone speechless. Randolph tries to be the voice of reason, asking the High Dryad if he is serious about saving the dying forest. The Dryad looks skeptical, as if he has heard this from other lying humans before. The Dryad leader loses his mind, screaming that they are lies and he will kill him. He is completely blinded by rage because Randolph chopped down their sacred spirit tree. Hudson and Isabella are shaking in their boots as the entire forest turns against them. All the other Dryad guardians join in on the death threats, promising to shoot them down where they stand. The High Dryad loomed over them, repeating his murderous intent with his glowing eyes. It looks like things are about to go south real fast for our favorite trio. Randolph holds up a hand and tells them all to stop. He has that main character energy that demands everyone's attention. The Dryads are taken aback, their angry faces replaced with confusion. They actually stop their attack, which is a miracle given how mad they were a second ago. The High Dryad leader lands heavily, his hooves crushing the grass beneath him. He is still suspicious, but is at least willing to listen to what this crazy human has to say. He gets right in Randolph's personal bubble, warning him that he had better keep that promise to save the forest. The tension is so thick, you could cut it with a knife. Randolph just gives him a confident smirk, telling the big guy not to worry because he always delivers. He is promising to bring a spirit back to this place, no matter what it takes. The Dryad walks away, muttering about how he does not expect a human to actually pull off such a feat. He is basically telling Randolph that he will just kill him later after he inevitably fails. The leader tells the group to follow him, leading them deeper into the thicket. It looks like he is taking them to the actual entrance of the trial. They come across a beautiful, glowing part of the woods where the sun filters through the leaves. Even for a dying forest, this place looks pretty magical. The group arrives at a clearing centered around a large pile of jagged rocks. This does not exactly look like a grand entrance to a tower. A close-up on the rocks shows they are the corpse of a stone spirit. Since the forest is dying, this pile of rubble is their only way to open the tower's gate. The High Dryad stands by the rocks, looking pretty somber about the whole situation. He reminds them that this is the absolute last resort for their dying home. Randolph is already thinking about the loot, asking what kind of reward he gets if he actually succeeds. This guy really has his priorities straight even in a life-or-death situation. The Dryad gives him a sharp side-eye, promising a reward that is actually worthy of the task. He had better not be cheap, because this mission sounds like a total nightmare. The system quest pops up to return the spirit to the forest. Failure means a battle with the forest, which Randolph thinks is a grandiose way to say they are all going to die. Randolph reaches out his hand, which is glowing with an intense green aura. His hidden druid trait is working overtime to connect with the nature spirits here. He commands the portal to open, and suddenly the area starts to glow with a blinding golden light. The party is finally getting started. A massive pillar of light erupts from the ground, looking like it is trying to punch a hole in the sky. This is way more dramatic than your average teleportation spell. The screen is completely engulfed in white and gold energy. It is a total whiteout, and you can tell the power level here is absolutely insane. Hudson is doing his best to shield his eyes, but the light is just too much. He looks like he is regretting every decision that led him to this moment. The intense glare continues, showing shots of the group struggling to stay upright. This portal is not just an entrance, it is a whole physical challenge on its own. The system message confirms that the portal to the Tower of Spirits is finally open. Only those with permission can enter, and our group is standing right in the middle of the rift. Hudson and Isabella look around in pure awe at the space they have entered. It is a dark void filled with shimmering golden particles, looking like they stepped into the center of a nebula. Randolph explains that they are currently inside the portal meant for entering the tower. He always has the internal game wiki open in his head. Hudson is totally lost, asking who they even need permission from. He is starting to realize that being a sidekick in Randolph's party is a lot of confusing work. A tiny, adorable spirit floats down, looking like a little flame wearing a golden gladiator helmet. It is way too cute for a place this dangerous. Isabella and Hudson are immediately charmed by the little guy, thinking it is quite cute. They are even wondering if they should just catch it and take it with them as a pet. Randolph is not falling for the cuteness act, staring the spirit down with a serious expression. He knows that in this game, even the small things can be deadly. The spirit starts to speak, its tiny voice echoing through the void. It claims to be sensing something very specific about Randolph. It senses the druid's aura and officially grants Randolph permission to climb the tower. His nature affinity is literally his golden ticket into this high-level dungeon. The spirit then asks if the people behind him are his friends, people he can truly entrust his back in life to. It is getting real philosophical all of a sudden. Randolph gives the go-ahead, so the spirit agrees to let them enter as well. But of course, there is always a catch when it comes to these ancient trials. Suddenly, the space around them starts to crack and shatter. The spirit announces that everyone has to pass through their own individual trial, which is basically bad news for the team. Isabella is the first to go, her body starting to pixelate and disappear into the light. She tells Randolph she will be right back, but you can see the worry in her eyes. Hudson is absolutely panicking as he starts to fade away, shouting that his body is disappearing. This dude really is not built for these high-stress teleportation moments. The spirit tells Randolph that time works differently in here, so he should not worry about reality while he is climbing. That is easy for a floating flame to say. It wishes him luck as a druid, and leaves him standing alone in the sparkling void. The real game is finally about to start. The official Main Quest 3 notification pops up. Climb the tower. These towers are popping up worldwide, and clearing them is the only way to progress. A helpful system tip suggests starting with the Tower of Basics in each city. Too bad our boy Randolph decided to go straight for the hardest one first. Randolph finds himself standing before a massive, creepy stone door with a giant carved face on it. This looks like the final boss's bedroom. He casually mentions that it has been a while since he has been here. He is treating this legendary tower like a nostalgic trip to his hometown. He looks up at the massive statue, wondering what kind of trial he is going to get stuck with. He is basically asking for trouble at this point. The big text confirms that a trial is required to enter. This is the ultimate gatekeeper moment for any aspiring tower climber. The scene cuts to Isabella in her own trial room. Since her element is wind, she is facing the Trial of Wind, which looks suitably breezy and green. Hudson is in a different area, facing the Trial of Water. He looks way out of his depth, surrounded by swirling blue energy and splashes. The system explains that each trial is perfectly suited to the climber's affinity. It is a personalized nightmare for every person who enters. Randolph is stumped because he is seeing elements he does not recognize. He wonders if it is because his custom character has an affinity for literally everything. The giant stone face starts glowing with an eerie purple light, reacting to Randolph's presence. It is clearly sensing something very unusual about this human. The door is actually amazed, realizing Randolph possesses conflicting elements like fire and water, or light and darkness. He is basically a walking elemental contradiction. It wonders if he has the rare void element, but quickly realizes he is even more complex than that. This guy is breaking the game's logic just by standing there. The door opens with a huge thud, revealing a swirling vortex of purple and black energy. Welcome to the Trial of Chaos, the hardest challenge in the tower. Randolph steps into the darkness, with a voice warning him to be very careful. This is not the kind of place where you want to trip and fall. The voice warns him that if chaos devours him, he is never coming back. That is a pretty heavy way to say game over. He walks into a vast, sepia-toned room that looks like it goes on forever. The scale of this place is just ridiculous. The trial room turns into a grand, cathedral-like hallway. Randolph is walking toward his fate with total confidence. A flashback shows our protagonist back in the real world, grinding away at Panjanina every single day for 5 years. This dude was the definition of a dedicated gamer. He claims that nobody has played the game longer or knows more about it than he does. He is basically the walking strategy guide for this entire world. Even with all his thousands of hours, he admits the game still has secrets that surprise him. That is the sign of a truly insane game design. He reflects on the game's legendary difficulty that always made him want to challenge it more. This guy is a total glutton for punishment. He has a fierce, competitive look in his eyes as he thinks about why he loves this game. He is in it for the mystery and the thrill of the hunt. Back in the trial, he grips his sword, hearing that the Trial of Chaos is finally open for the first time. He is ready to make history once again. He declares that he will be the very first person to clear it. He is charging forward into the unknown like a total boss. The back of a mysterious figure with long white hair appears at the end of the hall. This looks like the boss he has to beat. The figure turns around, and it is a man with a cold, piercing gaze and flowing white hair. This guy looks like he could cut you just by looking at you. He's surrounded by a dark, crackling aura that screams top-tier boss. The air in the room just got a whole lot colder. Randolph's eyes go wide as he realizes who he is looking at. He recognizes this guy, and it is clearly not a happy reunion. He stammers out the name Wilhelm. He cannot believe the character he spent years raising is now standing in front of him as a trial boss. Before he can even finish his sentence, Wilhelm moves with a blindingly fast sword strike. Talk about a rude awakening from your own creation. Randolph is sent skidding back, barely managing to block the massive force of the blow. He's already coughing up spit from the sheer impact. He stabilizes himself but is clearly shaken by the encounter. Fighting your own maxed-out character is a total nightmare scenario for any gamer. He is internally panicking, realizing he has to fight the guy who used to be rank 1 in the entire game. This is like a boss fight against your own ghost data, but on steroids. The two clash again, with sparks flying in every direction. Randolph is wondering how he is supposed to win against a monster he created himself. A sword spins in the air, glowing with a bright pinkish light. The fight is getting chaotic and fast, just like the trial promised. Randolph looks totally stunned as the intensity of the fight ramps up. He's realizing that his knowledge of the game might not be enough to save him here. We see the dark silhouettes of legendary players who were never meant to be defeated. This trial is literally designed to be impossible to clear. A massive explosion of energy fills the room as Randolph reflects on how insane Pangininia really is. He is right in the middle of a trial that nobody was ever expected to finish.